vengeance. You gon' see me end this, I will be ascending. I don't ever slack, I got my eyes on a prize. What I see for my life, I don't float, no I fly. Do or die, cause you gotta do or die. There ain't no compromise, get ready for a fight.
Do you wanna see what you're made of? What if there was no one to save us? Would you leave it all on the pavement? Would you dye the ground with some stray blood? I just wanna find out my limits. I'ma put everything in it. I'm in this life to win it, and this is just the beginning. Do you want it bad? Do you want it bad? Do you want it bad? I'll fight till I collapse. I'll fight till I collapse. Till I collapse. My energy is unmatched. I don't get tired, no I don't get gas. Still working to surpass everybody, getting past on my way up fast. So watch out for me now. Everybody in this town will be looking at my crown. I got my knuckles all wrapped, blood drips from the scabs, bloody fists from the jabs. Do you wanna see what you're made of? What if there was no one to save us? Would you leave it all on the pavement? Would you dye the ground with some stray blood? I just wanna find out my limits. I'ma put everything in it. I'm in this life to win it, and this is just the beginning. Do you want it bad? Do you want it bad? Do you want it bad? I'll fight till I collapse. I'll fight till I collapse.
Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Racers Elite Network Sunday portion of single events. They're new to me here as Raging Ron Piles on the old network, so I should carry that into Racers Elite. Have yet to tell Matt that. We'll keep going with that, but we got Mac Johnson joining us in the booth here as well as I'm gonna say I don't know, Tim wants me to put him out there, but Ron Piles, myself here bringing us play-by-play, and we'll have Tim running the controls behind the scenes. So thanks to him making all this possible that you guys are gonna see him running the cameras, and maybe not so much hear him on the broadcast, but he's working behind the scenes and we can't do this without him, so his recognition is definitely needed. But today's race, we're looking at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Atlanta, Georgia, and 260 laps is the distance, and the driver's got a few things to keep in mind as incident penalties come with the clause here. Hopefully we don't see a lot of that. I'm sure Andrew Tuft will manage those drivers at 25 incident points, and they have one fast repair, so keeping those cars clean and rolling will be the best way to do it here today. So a lot of things to go with it. And we're looking at the weather for today as well, and not so much to worry about as far as wind. Looking at mile per hours of 1, and not going to change much off of that, but 23 degrees Celsius for the ambient air temperature, and 55 degrees, I think, temperature. You're good. Looking at a couple things here, I could pull it off this here. So clear 74 degrees, track temperature 131 degrees, so we're getting a little warm, so should keep these tires nice, warm, and tacky with winds 1 to 2 mile an hour. Like I was saying, humidity is about 43%, 29 inches of mercury, so not too far off of the engine wanting to perform here. Let's see. Looking at the starting lineup for today's race, starting on the pole will be the number 15 of Kinsley Smith, and to his outside will be the 33 of Cole Larson. Will start position number 2. Starting inside of row number 2. In the third spot is the 9 of Del Prokop Valaket, and starting to his outside of row number 2 in the fourth spot will be the 94 of Christopher Pendle. Inside of row number 3 will be the 55 of Truth Hoke. Starting in the fifth spot, to his outside in the sixth position is the 10 of Kirby Wainscott. Rolling back now to position number 7 will be the 101 car of Brian LaPratt. Starting in the 8th position is Richard Ode, the 78. Rolling back now to row number 5 on the inside is the 57 of Aaron Roth. And his outside, Troy Thomas. And the 3 will start P10. Inside of row number 6, starting 11th is John Ross, the 44. Curtis Ecker in the 8 will start position number 12. Inside of row number 7 is the 16 of Chris Lawrence, starting position 13. Outside of him in position 14 is the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt. Inside of row number 8, starting 15th is JD Larson in the 18. Starting 16th is the 50 of Terry Fennell. And bring up the tail of the field is the 00, and 17th is Alan Bergen. So the Atlanta 400 coming up here real soon. We're looking at the cars working their way down to the lineup area. Going to get ready to roll for today's race. A lot of drivers here that we see on Thursday night with Matt and I putting on a great show. Kinsley Smith has been kind of absent, so it's good to see Kinsley back on the racetrack with the broadcasts to put on a show. Christopher Pendle had a great run here this past Thursday, was running up front. Truth Hoke, another great contender. He usually comes up a little bit short, but he's got a good qualifying position starting in the top 5 today. And Kirby Wainscott, also another top runner in this in the Racers Elite Series. And that number 10, he's always usually up front as well. Richard Ode, I saw got the race, I think, for the first time last Thursday, and he was up front contending for a race win. Troy Thomas is also up there. John Ross has a race win in the Racers Elite Series on Thursdays. Curtis Ecker was getting close. Brandon Honeycutt's always a strong runner as well. Alan Bergen's been up front. Andrew Tuft actually picked up the win Thursday, so he'll be looking to pick up another win. Well, we'll start this week off. Maybe start this one off with a win and maybe bring it up again on Thursday. So those are the ones that we've seen multiple times here on the Racers Elite Network. The field work in that starting grid down there, it's going to be fun to see how these drivers play out in today's race here at Atlanta. It's a little different from what we saw. Probably not a little different, but these drivers seem to have a little bit more etiquette as far as racing goes. So we'll see how they use it to their advantage here at Atlanta today. So this is like the premier group for the Racers Elite Network. being able to race for these prizes, that they may get cut in half or cut to a certain potential due to limited entries. It gives you a limited prize pool, but Andrew does a great job handling all that. And I'm not gonna lie, if I wasn't gonna sit here in the booth today, I was gonna see what it would take for me to get into this series. But I know there's a couple prerequisites that I don't have that I'd have to be kind of tapping on Andrew's shoulder, going, "Hey, buddy, I know I haven't got that race qualification, but I've been here for the races. I've seen what your drivers can do, and I think that I could compete with them. But with this group here, probably not. I don't have quite the experience to do that, and I'd probably be like 3 cautions in and be like, yeah, I'm just ruining these guys' race and probably leave." But the iRacing.com official pace car has pulled off pit road with the field following behind them, and once again, iRacing, the elite producer here, is if it wasn't for iRacing being here, we wouldn't be here. So thanks to iRacing.com for having us around and allowing us to do what we do without being too big of a pain or a burden on us, as we can watch racing and perform just as well in the officials and hosting that get put up each and every day by themselves, their friends and colleagues alike that we like to sit here and race and play on the sim. So yeah, thank them for allowing us to do that. Let us do what we do here, is still working the way around here, gonna get this race underway. I'm sure these drivers are just as anxious to get this race in. 260 laps is the distance, and it may take us a while to do that, but pit stops and all these races are gonna make such a great show today. 20 starters here, looks like, in the field. Should be a great race, especially with a lot of these drivers. Fun fact from last week, I believe, don't remember exactly, I think we were almost caution free last week with the race in Atlanta. So it's goodness, these drivers we did have a few small incidents. Atlanta, I believe, is one of those self-cleaning racetracks as far as iRacing considers it. So you don't have nearly the washed up cautions as the iRacing.com space car is in, and the green flag is about to fly here. Green is out, and Kinsley Smith and Cole Larson going to lead us down the 33 in the Mountain Dew car. Looks like he's got a great jump on this initial start. I don't know if he didn't spin the tires as much, was able to control his throttle a little better, but he's looked like he was going to have the lead going into turn 1. The 15 has it now, and the Napa 15 is pulling the bottom, the top shelf here. Usually comes in a little late, but you can see Cole Larson also already trying to look into that bottom row, but the 8, the 9, I'm used to seeing a red 8, but the 9 Budweiser, going to sneak in that bottom lane, close that gap, and get in there where he wants to. So Valiquette able to close that gap and not allow the 33 to get in. Larson's going to have to try to find another spot, but he's going to have some company. Here comes Christopher Pendle in the 94, and he's going to look to take over and push the 33 forward, potentially back to the race lead. We'll see if they get that high line going here momentarily. They come off turn number 2 down the back straightaway. The 71 losing a little bit there in the back, but now things up front. It's Lieutenant Kirby Wainscott, the Racers Elite Network sponsored ride, working his way up to the 4th position on the bottom, right behind the 9 of Valiquette.
Yeah, on that start, I don't know if you noticed, but about 5 or 6 cars back on the inside, it seemed like somebody had a issue on the start there, and like spun. I don't know if it was spun the tires or what, but it caused a huge checkup, kind of spreading the pack out pretty early on the inside there.
No, I did not happen to catch that, but that's a great eye there. Now, so yeah, just feel free to jump in there, Mac. I can flow with you. My mic button, I gotta switch that, but that's how I do that. Quick 33 of Cole Larson trying to get back to the initial starting position here. He's working that outside still. And I was trying to see who was moving up there. Looks like the 8 Curtis Eckert making some moves here early as he's trying to get up towards the front of this field and kind of set his race pace a little early.
Yeah, there's only 5 cars up on that second row there, but they're doing everything they can to make it work. 260 laps here is definitely going to be a long time, so we'll have to see if somebody else moves to the top, work with them, try and keep that second line stable, or if they're just going to succumb to the abundance of more cars on the bottom and just fall in line and have a good long green flag run here.
Another thing to note here with these cars, like you were saying, the bottom lane having more cars and it keeps their draft going. And a lot of things that kill that, though, you get too many cars in a line, and that bottom lane is kind of notorious there is for this, but when you go off on the corner, you gotta cut your wheel that much tighter and burn off, you lose that much more momentum. That's where the top side prevails, but when you got a long line at the bottom, on the bottom side of the racetrack, a lot of guys about 8 to 9 cars back, you get some people or drivers that are a little bit more green to some kind of like draft pack racing. You have to watch out for that checkup, and going off in the corner, sometimes it's a lot more, and that's usually where a lot of drivers get themselves in trouble, where they run them down too fast, and you're right in the bumper with the car. That's one of the things you got to be wary about. And you can see it right there as they came off of turn 2 down the back straight.
Yeah, I would say I think the checkup and the amount of draft that these cars have here at Atlanta are more significant than you would get at, say, like Daytona or Talladega. Mainly just because of how much smaller this track is compared to those two. It comes up quicker, I feel.
You come up, Daytona or Talladega, you're constantly running 208, 210 down the straightaway, and here you're running like 170, maybe 150 by yourself. And you can even somebody live, off the pit stops or almost a little bit of contact there between the 33 and the 8. Watching that try over there as they turned into the corner. I don't think the 33 went down as far. He was contemplating that high line switch again as he just stood there. But back to the mile per hour rating change. You definitely see it a lot more when you come up on somebody here because the speed variances are so different. 210 normally to probably 160, 170 by yourself. You run 185, 190. One of these drivers right now, I think 180 right now for your race leader, so it's about 30 mile an hour difference in speed if you're not in the pack.
Yeah, and especially at a track like Atlanta here, where it runs almost identical to Daytona or Talladega in the super speedway with the super speedway package. Sorry, draft is monumental here. If you lose it, you gotta hope for a caution to be able to pull that pack back. Otherwise, you're definitely stuck going a lap down.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of these drivers. We saw some interesting stuff Thursday night here at Atlanta with the Next Gen Series. They went up there. The 9 looked like he got a little bit loose there off of turn number 2, but he was able to gather that back up and stay right with Kinsley Smith. I think a little bit of help there. Cole Larson was able to kind of give him a little bit of room to get that corrected. That could have been bad real fast.
Yeah, and just looking through the field real quick, it does look like we have at least one car that has lost the draft so far. So, so far it looks like everyone's playing nice. This is my first time seeing these guys run, so I'm hoping for long green flag runs, green flag pit stops. See what gets shaken up with strategy here.
Terry Fennell are doing a tandem draft way back in turns 3 and 4 right now. As your leaders are currently going into turn 1. It's kind of watch to see who all is kind of missing, but back up front we got Truth Hope trying to make his way forward in the 55. He's currently back in position 9. Drivers working their way down the back straightaway, but Truth Hope in the Wrangler sponsored ride, always a sharp looking ride to watch. Where he can make his way around the racetracks here in the iRacing Simulator. Budweiser sponsored cars are always kind of key, so Budweiser and Wrangler seem like, I'm good. Budweiser is like red, blue, and white. They're always pretty much patriotic. Wrangler is always like kind of like a blue to me. Maybe it's just a personal preference.
Usually like blue, maybe yellow, maybe some white here and there. But real quick, have you noticed the entire field here is single file now? That high lane just kind of fell apart, and everyone's just kind of running where they are.
Yeah, it's kind of a key here to the longer race, and it kind of sets everything up later. The drivers kind of getting comfortable right now, filling out the track, figuring out how things are going to roll, and kind of they want to play the caution factor right now. They do have one faster pair, but you don't want to be using it on lap 10. And we're 15 laps in right now. And everybody's pretty much kosher. We did have, we had that issue. We had some cars get separated at the start of the race. Somebody may have spun the tire, started in the wrong gear, or maybe missed a shift and separated a couple. And there's a couple of times to be aggressive in the initial start of the race. is kind of one of those key times when you got to play a little aggression. You're gonna find yourself in a position like the 00 of Alan Bergen and the 71 of John Ashby back there. They're way outside of a key factor right now, and they'll be trying to fight to get that track position back the whole race, whether it be through pit stop strategy or so we got a battle for the race lead. Like Valaquette in the 9 was going to work his way into a race lead position. However, yeah, he's going to do it right. He's behind them. Cole Larson's up on the high side behind Smith right now, and it's got a good little side-by-side battle heating up here, so that maybe they were getting a little more of a play and follow the leader and wanted to step it out and see what they've got here. It's not really a bad time to be figuring out what you can and can't do, as long as it doesn't lead you to a violent crash.
Oh, 100%. And Kinsley Smith here is definitely showing that he can work both lines really well too, with moving to the high side and still being able to maintain that lead. So this is going to be fun.
Definitely thought we were going to see a 3 wide situation there. I thought maybe that Cole Larson was going to stick that down there, but he's got to be careful because he's got the 13 of Honeycutt right behind him. Honeycutt's also, they're going to leave him to dry. He says,
a little contact coming out of 4.
Always, it says there's times to be a little aggressive, and you know, sometimes throughout the race, if you want to try something that may be a little more aggressive than you intend, but still, got some good racing on right now up front. The 9 of Valaquette trying to go to the outside of the 33 of Larson, and they're going to make that move, and Honeycutt's going to get tagged along there as well. And they're looking to, I was going to say, they were looking potentially to bring the 44 John Ross up in there as well. John Ross going to get stuck. He got left out there. He got left high and dry, more or less, in the Sim Motion 44. But Christopher Pendle's still running in that top 5, and Brandon Honeycutt still, I would say Honeycutt might be a favorite to win this one, as well as Kim Smith is also a favorite on this one as well. We'll see how that plays out throughout the course of this long race, as we are now currently only 20 laps in.
Yeah, and being 20 laps in, I'm taking a look, and we're starting to catch John Ashby, who lost the draft really early on. They might actually catch him this lap or next lap. I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to look at the speed difference here. Doesn't look like it's that massive of a speed difference, probably about 10 mile an hour or so. But here at Atlanta, that's going to be quick.
Somebody just drove up the top of the backstretch down to the bottom. Let's see who that was. I think they got out of the draft. Something happened more towards the back, but we're going to stay green flag. Oh, nope. There's a caution coming infield. Trying to figure out. That's the Christopher Pendle, 94. There was some contact potentially made there. The Gatorade 94 car having a rough start here. I don't believe he had a whole lot of contact. He just got loose coming into the trial, and then John Ross in the 44 gave him a bump. And it was just enough to send him into a spin cycle, and the washing machine got started there, and he locked up the brakes, sliding backwards, and I believe he just tapped the wall. So to be a little bit on the air of caution for him, I'd say he probably comes in and get some gaffer's tape put on that rear end, and looks like he's okay. I'd say he probably do a little. Oh, awesome. All right, so no replay. We got to see it live, and the action was up front close enough that the cameraman was on point and caught the incident live, and so I think that he'll go in and get that optional and try to save that faster. What do you think, Mac?
So I looked a little bit. It doesn't look like he has a whole lot of damage. I would definitely take the optional, but it looks like everyone's gonna go ahead and come down pit road here, probably at least top off on fuel. We're looking at probably about 65 laps as a pit window, so this could be where we start seeing fuel mileage and pit strategies start coming into play.
So like you're saying, it seems like that's going to be the fuel mileage and pit strategy coming along. But look out now, this could potentially be a game changer. Alan Bergen stayed out on the racetrack. The rest of the field, everybody came down pit road. Alan Bergen said it's not time yet. We're going to hang on to our strategy. You guys can go down pit road. I'm seeing tire changes, and we definitely know they're getting some great Sunoco race fuel. So some fresh fuel goods and some Sunoco race fuel for most of these drivers. And probably a little bit of damage repair on the 94 Christopher Pendle. We'll have to see how he bounces back from that incident. I believe that was mostly on him due to the fact he broke free and then had a little help getting around, so a little tap there sending him for the rest of the cycle. But we'll see how things go and get back to green. We'll have to keep an eye out because I know the 00 of Alan Bergen was not a lap down. He doesn't have the option to come down pit road the second time around, and if he does, he'll get a penalty for that. It's not exactly how anybody wants to start the race, so hopefully he wasn't planning on coming and missed it.
This could also just be a bold strategy on trying to limit the amount of pit stops. Where, I mean, 65 lap roughly pit window, so you're looking at about a 3.5 stop race. So he could be hoping for another caution at the right time, but I guess time will tell here, especially since everybody else came down pit road. So everyone's going to have about 20 laps more of fuel.
They've got about they do have 10 tire sets they can use, and if you go through 10 tire sets here in this race, you're probably overdoing it a little bit. But I mean, you are making sure you keep fresh tires on the race car. You may carry a little more speed, but you're gonna spend more time putting those tires on. You probably end up going more laps down than need be trying to do that. So you're doing more harm than good put that fresh rubber on.
Real quick, before we go back green here, can we just talk about how Brian LaPratt, being the biggest mover on pit road, gaining 4 positions, jumping into the top 10 all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's quite a great move there. Like I said, the track position's going to play key, and doing the pit road battle is definitely a great strategy as well. So he's definitely got that down pat, and his crew very quick, and he was definitely on point getting in and out of the box, save you a lot of time. You know, being able to get into the box and get stopped to allow your crew to service everything and get out in that little amount of time. It could be a fraction of a second, could mean everything, especially during pit stops. Ready to get green here from the Geico restart zone. Alan Bergen with the old tires, he's probably still have some great heat left in him. He's going to get that great restart. Being the driver to fire in that restart zone, the first one to get on the loud pedal, going to definitely aid him getting back to green. And Brandon Honeycutt's going to make the move around the 15 of Kinsley Smith and take over the runner-up spot. But Kinsley Smith's going to fall right in line with him and potentially push him to the race leaders right now. Alan Bergen has nothing to rely on but side draft, as the next driver back from him is that Mountain Dew sponsored number 33 of Cole Larson. Brandon Honeycutt's going to bring along John Ross on the high side as well as Valaquette, so that's going to switch up things to the race lead, the top 5 duo or top 5 pack here, as John Ross is giving a little bit of leeway, and he may be trying to pick up the fastest lap of the race by doing that little slingshot, as I call it, a rubber banding. They draft around the speedway, so that's another thing here that you can use for I think they call it the slingshot for Talladega Nights. So, and they pulled that move for the win. So you see John Ross, he pulled right up to the back bumper of the 9 car. He didn't do the ending portion of that, but he's definitely using that to maybe even, I don't know if it would really work, I've never tried it. Maybe you have, Mac, but if he kind of falls back, comes back up on the 9 to change their draft, I don't know if that would be like a exponential run or not for the whole pack they got going there if he keeps doing that.
If he times it right, and if he has people that'll follow him, it'll work. But if he's the only one to step out, he might be able to draw alongside. But ultimately he'd probably just end up getting shuffled to the back of that group. Kinsley though making easy work getting back up to second place, trying to show that he is going to be the person to beat here today.
Yeah, Kinsley Smith's always a great contender here to pick up race wins, and I know if he was definitely always up front for the most part in Thursday night series with the broadcast, watching him do some great work there. The number 15, we kind of missed him here the past couple weeks. He's been absent, but good to see him here on Sunday morning, back behind the wheel, and up front doing what he does best, putting that Napa car in the top 5 for now, and hopefully at the end of the race he'll continue to be there as well as everybody else that wants to be there. There's nobody in this field that doesn't want to be in a top 5 position at the end of this race. Luck of the draw and a little bit of strategy will put these drivers where they belong and kind of play out, depending on the aggressiveness that they tend to use here today. Tell you what, right now, that top 4 cars, top 5 now, as Cole Larson is reeled back in the back of the 44 of Larson. Pardon me, the 44 of Ross. So I got Larson in the 33 behind him. Ross. That was a little cross though. Moving on. I was about to get to that. So this top 5 has moved away from the second pack right now. That's led by the 8 of Curtis Eckert, and they've got a lot more cars in that pack. They had a little bit of trouble getting in line and allowed the front 5 to sneak away a little bit. We'll have to see how long it takes them to catch them. We saw this happen on Thursday night where the second pack couldn't get together, and they had a lot more cars, and that front 5 pack seemed to just drove away. Right there, that number 10 of Kirby Wainscott stepping out like that, getting out from behind that 8 car, that's not going to help them catch up very much, and Andrew Tuft knows that. So hopefully Andrew's able to maybe step in and roll that 10 car. You see the 10 moved out of line. That's not helping them catch them.
Really quick, Alan Bergen is coming down pit road as we speak.
I just seen where he would slow down over here. Alan Bergen making his way to pit road. Maybe this is his original stop. Either that or he didn't quite have what it took to hang with them. Those fresh tires but these drivers have hurting him that much more. And see Terry Fenno also seemed like he was kind of off the pace. Not sure what happened there, but he's definitely lost his grasp of that second pack, so he's going to be on his own for a while. Yep. Brandon Honeycutt still your race leader out front right now as we roll lap 35 around the speedway. So right now you've got Honeycutt, Kinsley Smith, Dale Valaquette, John Ross, Cole Larson, your top 5. Curtis Eckert, Andrew Tuft, Troy Thomas, Aaron Roth, and Chip round out your top 10 right now as we continue rolling here at the Atlanta 400.
So if this top 5 starts getting antsy with each other and start battling, that's going to be the hope of the second pack. As long as the second pack can stay in line and not try and overcomplicate things with going side by side, that's going to be the easiest way for them to catch this top 5 again.
It sure is, and it's going to be hard to do, like I said, with the 10 of Kirby Wainscott being in that mix, with not being able to stay lined up with Curtis Eckert. But now it's Andrew Tuft is in that position. Now we'll see if they're able to make that work. Looks like Kirby Wainscott stepped out of that because he wasn't being able to stay with them. I'm sure the driver shot was a little hot when he was stepping out and everybody was trying to catch these race leaders. Single file with them as well. So it's gonna be hard to do unless they start getting really racy here. And 15's diving in and out for some air, so we'll see. He might be pushing hard.
Real quick, Alan Bergen is back down pit road. I don't know if he didn't take on as much fuel as he wanted, or if he got a speeding penalty or what, but he is back down pit road.
Alan Bergen most definitely either too fast entering or got caught speeding exiting. He definitely did get served. The iRacing officials out there making sure things stay fair, so to speak. So he definitely got a penalty for something and had to go back down pit road at that point in time. So I'd say it was speeding, leaving because it came after his pit stop. Kinsley Smith was looking to the outside there. I thought he was going to try to make a pass for the lead, but stand corrected is Valaquette not going to follow him, and Alan Bergen has cleared the black flag and is going to redo his pit exit and try to do it the right way. Brandon Honeycutt still continues to lead in the 13. Let's see how many laps he's led here so far. So unfortunately, Alan Bergen going to be 5 laps down. Going back to the racetrack. But even having to come in and serve that penalty or just come down pit road in general is almost
especially with the updated pit entry here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where you have to enter on the apron of turn 3 instead of how we used to be able to enter right off of turn 4. You have to keep it on the bottom of that apron the entire way around 3 and 4, so you scrub off a lot of speed just to be able to enter pit road here.
Yeah, I haven't quite done a whole lot with the Atlanta as far as pitting goes. I usually run, the officials without having to run a full length one. I've never had to really use the pit road. But the 8 of Ecker still leading here. Andrew Teft has taken over the 7th spot. He's going to be the pusher here.
They do seem, it's very small in terms of a gap, but they do seem to be closing that gap ever so slightly to that top 5. It could also be because the top 5 is not really pushing each other, whereas that entire second group is working with Ecker and Teft to maintain as much momentum as possible. But time will definitely tell here. We are about 40 laps from green flag stops if we stay green here, so we'll have to see what happens with this.
Yeah, pit stop's the game changer here with the Racers Elite. So it's like a full race length event, 260 laps in Atlanta is quite the way, and about a little over a mile and a half per lap. So it's so the Atlanta 400. It's great as Curtis Ecker's going to step up here to the high lane and let the pack go by, but he's going to have somebody else that's got a little dot behind it. They're going to bring it all the way forward. That's going to be the 16 car of Chris Lawrence. Lawrence not wanting to stay back there any longer. He's ready to make some moves. They said, let's get up here, and we don't feel that we're doing much back here. They want to kind of change things up as they're going to have to do battle of truth. Hooking down the 55, contact between the 55 and the 8 as they roll through turns 1 and 2. We're going to keep rolling here. Everything going to stay green as Ecker now. I think Ecker wanted to drop back, but Chris Lawrence says he wants to go forward, but they're going to have to settle here as the inside line is staying connected. They're going to carry that momentum as they roll forward here in this race.
Yeah, that right there is going to kill all the momentum that second group had with that little bit of side-by-side action, plus that contact between the 8 and the 55. So they're going to have to work even harder now to try and regroup and try and recatch that top 5.
Most definitely, that's a big killer there. That momentum is up front. It's still Brandon Honeycutt with the race lead, and the patience is playing a key here as Kinsley Smith is hanging on to that second spot. Got a push there from Valakep there as they came off of 4 into the tri-oval, but he was able to keep that car under him and keep those tires connected to the racetrack. He's at Napa Bubba's at 15 strong here, and Valakep pushes at the wrong time. Honeycutt's about to move up. He's going to might relinquish the lead here the way it looked, but I think Smith lifted. He doesn't want to go to the lead. He wants to stay in that middle. And another key factor here, I don't know how much saving it would do him, but if you're not out front and you're not pushing too hard, I tell you what, Smith right now definitely is not full throttle going around this racetrack. He's also probably trying to save a little bit of fuel.
Oh, 100%, especially with how in sync this top 5 seems to be with Aero push and Kinsley pushing, giving a little friendly tap here and there to Brendan Honeycutt on the backstretch. He's definitely not full throttle. I'd be surprised if he's 3/4 throttle for most of this lap.
Yeah, that's the great thing with even a great, I wouldn't even call this a super speedway, but a great drafting track where the draft makes that much of a difference and you can actually save a little bit of fuel rolling around here. It's going to allow him to get that extra maybe lap or two. It may not seem like it's a lot, but between a lap or two, it could be whether you're making an extra pit stop with like 5 to go, realizing you're not going to make it, or it could be that little bit of extra you got in the tank at the end, that little bit adds up each stop, potentially put you in victory lane. So keep it single file for the most part. John Ross maybe might not have a crew chief or spotter with him. I know most of these drivers don't even know if they really allow it here. Somebody come in and manage their pit stops, but you'll see some of these drivers step out of line, might be setting up whether they want tires or fuel or how much fuel they want for the next stop. And unlike being out there in the real world, which is nice, you just tell them what you want, and when you come in, you get it. But here in the iRacing sim, a lot of these drivers don't have an extra set of eyes at their disposal, and they're in there managing some analog controls or pushing buttons, trying to get everything set up, and they might not, this is something that maybe in the official, being a shorter distance races, we don't usually have to set up for some of this stuff, and they may not know exactly where these buttons are, and they might have hit the wrong one, and trying to get all that set up. Mistakes are key to, you don't want to have happen during a race, but if you're not used to doing that, it may take you some time to do that. With Brian LaPratt finding a button, there may be some comedy going on out there that we're not hearing, considering the crazy fool text that I saw. He might have hit the wrong button. He might not be accustomed to where those buttons are to set up those pit stops.
And just looking through the field here, this top 5 is coming up on Terry Fennell here, who's going to be going a lap down any moment here.
Down the back straight, looks like we're going to get him here going into 3 and 4, and Fennell going to move to the top side of the racetrack to give them room in that Buck Cup sponsored number 50, so he's going to give them all the room that they need as they roll off a turn 4 to the tri-oval. The front part of the field going to make their way around him, so the first 5 have gone around Fennell, and he'll go a lap down, unfortunately, for Alan Bergen. He is no longer the first car a lap down. Not benefit him unless he got the whole field to come in and was able to take the waiver in.
What is going to help Terry here, though, as we see John Ross and Dale Valiquette going side by side here, it is going to help. Sorry, it is going to help Terry here with the draft off this top 5. So he's going to be able to maintain speed now.
Most definitely, he'll be able to keep up with this front pack, and that's it's going to be trouble for Alan Bergen. They're being already multiple laps down. Terry Fennell now is the first car lap down, and he is right there with the lead draft. So that's going to help them out. And I think the second half of the pack is far enough back that even adding that extra car, if he can stay with them, it looks like he's having a little bit of issues there at the moment. We'll see if he can pick up that magnetic draft there. Usually I'd say about a full second behind them, and the lead pack's going to leave you. But I don't think that the second group is going to be close enough to catch up. There's Andrew Teptas now slipping back through the field. I believe potentially stepping out of that lead role there is Troy Thomas is now going to take the second group. The little change up there. A little info for the fans out there as your race leaders working their way around. And I believe
Oh, we had contact.
You had contact? I did not see. What do you
The 40 and Curtis Ecker. It's still green, but Ecker's slow on the apron of 1 and 2.
Most definitely. It's like, well, I got some news. I think Ecker was on pit road, and unfortunately, he has been bitten by the black flag bug. Caution's out. Looks like the 98 Andrew Teft. And race control since Curtis Ecker's black flags have been removed, so I'm gonna.
It looked like Ecker got contact with the 40 of John Ashby, and it just sent him through the infield, through the quad oval, and ended up speeding through the last quarter of pit road.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, at least race control's on that and able to see what's going on, and unfortunately that contact happened, and Curtis Ecker went through the scenario he did. And we got an issue with the 98 of Andrew Teft, and I'm not sure what sent him for a ride there is a little weird. Seeing him kind of appear and disappear and reappear, so I don't think he was gone. So maybe some network issues for Andrew Teft, and when he came back he was spinning. I think he took it to pit road. Yeah, Andrew was gone, and unfortunately for the drivers that were having a great race, and Andrew's technical difficulties with his ride, his drivers coming down pit road, and I believe we're going to see the same. We're not going to see the same results as last time, as Alan Bergen is returning to pit road with the lead duo, and a little slower on the end of pit road. I'm not. Okay, he's good. I thought maybe an issue there as he was coming down, but he just slowed down extra, and apparently he learned his lesson from the last time that iRacing will grab you, as he slowed that in coming in. And it looks like we're seeing a lot of stops going as Honeycutt was trying to be the first off of pit road, and if Kinsley Smith can get on it, he will be the first off
got
pit road. Kinsley Smith wins the race off of pit road, and Honeycutt with a close second there is, I think Kinsley looked up and saw him. He was trying not to spin the tires, which is great throttle control and a great mind asset there, is leaving pit road to not spin the tires. But considering if he'd have got on it and tried to hurry up and get off there, I think Honeycutt would have probably beat him, because he wouldn't have had the forward momentum to get there to that line to race off of pit road to pick up that great lead starting spot in the 50. Like we mentioned earlier, Terry Fennell should get the wave around, should get the lucky dog, as he did stay out, so should be. We'll see how that plays out. Or he came in fuel in, he'd be the leader out.
I say yeah, unless he got, unless he already got the waiver round.
I think he's gonna wait. I think they gotta wait because of iRacing rule. I think he'll get the waiver round this time, or the lucky dog this time. If they do have to wait, because they do have an opportunity. The lap cars have to wait till the second lap to pit. I forgot about that. Leave lap cars only on the first time around. Okay, so he's gonna get his wave around, or lucky dog. Because we get the 1 to green, so we'll get green next time by, so he got the wave around.
As we're,
Good.
I was gonna say, as we're coming back green with just under 200 laps to go here, if they play the fuel right, we could potentially see only 2 more stops.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see how that plays out. See how many stops that they're going to get into this race. It would be different. Right now, looking at Brendan Honeycutt up 12 spots, so he started 14th. He's definitely playing the draft right. Has made his way up there. John Ross started in, I think, 11th or 12th there. 11th place, and he's up to 4th. Right now, your race leader getting back on the loud pedal, and the Geico restart. Send green flags back out, and your race position winner off of pit road of Kinsley Smith in the 15 Bob Osler car gets a great restart, as such he should there, with the fresh rubber and a full tank of Sunoco Racing fuel. Getting back up front to be here. Battle's enemy for the second spot. Honeycutt and Cole Larsing to go at it, and Balaquette's on the inside, and you've got the 44 John Ross battling high on the outside. And Kinsley Smith says he's going to battle the top side of the racetrack. The bottom's got a great run through 3 and 4. Here comes the 33. And Cole Larson back to the point. They're going to take the race lead. We'll see if the high side momentum puts them back out front here down through the tryover.
And Andrew Teft must have gotten his hardware issues figured out, because he's back out on the racetrack as well here.
Yeah, I was seeing here he's having some heating issues, and talking about draft and aerodynamics, some air temperature. He's going to have to put some AC in the room he's in right now to keep that thing cool. get that thing cooled down, especially for this long race. Kinsley Smith back out front retook the race lead from Cole Larson. We're having the 94. Pendle's having some flashing issues. That flagged him in an early season race with the Racers Elite Network on Thursdays, where it got bad enough that he had to actually take that car to pit road and put it back on the trailer and put her at home to try to figure out how to keep that car from having more technical issues. But he hasn't been having having too many issues today. Mercedes have been able to stay up front with this pack as he's currently running in the 5th position. The Pendle's issues, but Racing Ford is having issues. Just kidding. John Ross, he always great performance in that 44. He's got a race in the Thursday series. Christopher Pendle has yet to do so, so maybe some programming issues and some ignition troubleshooting to do for Pendle to put that car in victory lane yet.
Looking through the field here, we are single file all the way from the front to the back. So everyone's just kind of biding their time right now. It looks like John Ross is actually making a move on Christopher Pendle. Pendle has stepped out of line and it's going to lose 2 spots here. Probably going to slot right behind Truth Hoke here, which he does.
Yeah, so everybody's single file, and I think Terry Pendle getting that wave around as Andrew Tuff steps way high to let the leaders go by. He is 5 laps down. Him and Alan Bergen will be battling for position for the rest of this race. But Terry Pendle, unfortunately, appears to have either had to slow down before they took off, and he didn't time his takeoff or his restart right, or either that, or he wasn't able to catch the field before they went green flag. He's still quite a ways back, and that's not going to be beneficial for him. He'll be looking or hoping to have a caution to be able to catch back up. But we picked, out in the world, we picked about manufacturers and everything. I had this conversation with somebody the other night. I don't remember if it was live on the air or not, but the way the world has gone anymore, we may pick about manufacturers, but all these manufacturers are using the same parts within these vehicles to make them function. So we've gone away from the manufacturer sole brand parts to universal fit to make things work and within a range of positions. So, but here in the outracing simulator, these cars, we do see a little bit of performance here and there, a little bit better or not between certain cars, and you just gotta kind of stay true to what you got to figure out how to make it work, or if something worked before that, you get right back to what you did. Another big key factor, I think, to put it this way, because it happens in the real world, it happens here in sim racing. The more money you got put in your factor to having some great stuff and being able to perform and get out front, the more money you put in your rig, the more money you have in your system, the better you'll perform. And it's kind of sad to say that, because they say it's sim racing, we get Daytona and a lot of these tracks are great equalizers. That's great. If you can turn your graphics up or have a wheel, or you can feel the bumps in the track and know where you're losing momentum, or find those weaknesses or weak spots in your driving line. So out front, he's got this perfect line. Like you saw, he kind of ran a little bit of a different line off the corner, off the turn 4 than what Brendan Honeycutt ran. Maybe there's a bump that Kinsley Smith feels in the racetrack that he knows is there, but Brendan Honeycutt doesn't know it's there, so he stayed glued to that inside line. And you see, it seems like Kinsley's running just a little bit more carelessly off the bottom, but it maybe doesn't see the fact that there's a bump or something there, maybe something he can see that somebody else can't.
So this group here, from all the way back to the 12th position, it looks like, is all single file in a line, and then you have, well, I was going to bring it up, but they got back in a line and sorted themselves out. 12th on back has been fighting a little bit here, but they seem to sort everything out.
That's that group that we were watching earlier with Brian LaPratt and Aaron Ross in that group, and the 18 of JD Larson, Chris Lawrence, and the 16 and the 10 of Kirby Wainscott. Those guys, and you can see it now, they're kind of having a problem staying in line, and I don't know that so much that they don't want to get back up front. It just seems like they're running the race a little more loosely, and it's costing them a lot of ground. You know, you can see Kinley Smith earlier was kind of running a little freer on exit. These guys back here seem to be kind of floating it out to the corner, and they're not really helping themselves stay in their draft so much. And I know the 57 Aaron Roth, he's a very, very heavy hitter with race wins and stuff, so he's allowing a little bit there, but he's also the one that's got to be the one pushing the 101 Brian LaPratt, so he's got to kind of fall back and create that run, keep that draft, get that bump draft going, so he can catch up. And it could be even just simply back to dropping back, coming back to that back bumper and pushing him along to help get him caught up to that lead pack. But it's going to take a little bit there. This gap's kind of reconstructed itself even after that run pissed off the caution. Saw somebody dip below the apron there. I think it was 16 Chris Lawrence, but he was able to keep it rolling.
Yeah, and it looks like, just to update everybody at home, Alan Bergen has pulled his car behind the wall and is done for the day.
Yeah, most definitely Alan Bergen taking his car to the trailer. 1 meter retake, which will be done, I believe, being after that. I think he's basing it off of the amount of pit stops they've had here in the first 77 laps of this event. He's not banking on getting those 5 laps back. Andrew Tuft is going to hang out and play the role here, so that's going to be a little relief on him. So now he's got to do some battle with Terry Fennell and see if he can try to get him caught up to where he is. Maybe benefit some of these, maybe some pit stops, pit strategy. You have to be a little special if you laps back on this draft track. It'd be a little easier if this track was more technical, like Bristol or Martinsville, where everybody's gonna get laps down as they go to pit road if they do a green flag stop. But keep an eye on things right now. That Napa Budweiser sponsored 15 out front. And that Chevy Camaro is running top dog here today for Kinley Smith, and he's a big contender here to potentially pick up a race win. We'll see how things play out. We've had some late race overtime situations here at Atlanta, and the case here for this thing. I would say goes green to checker. We've already had a couple cautions, and one of them was unaverted, so it's kind of out of his control. So we'll credit that to him. He's out here racing, trying to make the best out of what's left of the day with those issues he was having. So watching right now is a little. Well, there comes the 9 of Valaquette looking to the inside of Brandon Honeycutt as we're approaching lap traffic. This is not when you want to be going for passes, but now they're going to have to go 3 wide potentially with the 50 as he gets the wall. He's coming down the racetrack. He was able to catch it back, get it caught back up as he brushed the wall coming off the corner. Made things interesting. Kinley Smith on the bottom. They were 3 wide for the race lead, and things getting interesting up front. John, what a save! What a save! Wow, John Ross with some good hands there. He had contact and help getting turned around. He might have some help staying on the loud pedal as things are going to end. So we're going to go 3 wide now. Big moves being made as that lap traffic played a flag for the front row. And right now it's going to be Del Valaquette going to the race lead with the aggressive move there. Man, that was wild.
Mac had to step away. You're on your own for a moment.
Okay, that's fine. Either way, looking at Brandon Honeycutt is going to go right back to what he knows best, and he's still pushing along here down the backstretch into turn 3. The 13 Honeycutt still pushing for that second spot, but I tell you what, even through incidents and things happening on the racetrack, look at that Wrangler number 55 of Truth Hope in the right place at the right time. For right now, he's going to go to position number 3. He started in 5th, and he's not really moved forward a whole lot, but that incident there just goes to show even a little bit of contact allows him to move into position, potentially be in a raceway position. Christopher Pendle also able to make it through that incident unscathed with that 94, and he's kind of bounced back from that issue earlier where he had to lock the brakes up and barely touched the wall, so that car not as damaged as you'd probably think it would be. Backing into the wall, he did get it slowed down enough so it wasn't terrible, so great driving by him as well. But we're back to that top 5 out front by themselves again. So they that little incident broke up the field, and the top 5 showing true once again. But Richard Oden is 78, making his run to the front now as he's hanging with these guys and able to drive through that. And great hands by everybody going through that incident. Though he didn't have a caution for that. I mean, great hands for the drivers that were able to maintain that. Probably the caution is about to pile up, I believe, in turn 1 and 2, the 18 being involved as well as the 71.
Yeah, there was about 4 cars involved there, or 5 cars.
Let's try a replay.
So coming through the tri-oval, we're looking for contact. Here going to be the 40, and wow, what a violent hit. We got to look like somebody spinning the top. Beyblades are in action in the tri-oval. The 18 of Larson, JD Larson involved in this one. And a lot of it. You see the contact right there, hard on the outside wall for JD Larson. The 40 also a hard crash. A couple other cars collected in this as well, and one even late in the going. Thought he was going to sneak by, but got tangled up. So we get some names of these as well. But a lot of broken race cars there, Mac.
Oh yeah, looks like Terry Fennell was involved, John Ashby, Chris Lawrence, JD Larson, I believe Andrew Teft was involved as well, I'm not 100% sure. So it looked like there was about 5 or 6 cars that were involved in that.
Yeah, Teft got caught wind off of a spinning top, and there's a lot of velocity coming off that wall. And he actually got twisted up in that when the 18 bounced off the wall. It's kind of crazy to see, being that far away, that he got tangled. And yeah, you were right about Fennell being involved in that. It was a very crazy event. And fortunately, the pace car here is not solid, or we had the pace car involved in the wreck because he drove through it as it was ending. And Andrew Teft actually slid through his box coming to pit road to get that damage fixed. I believe a fast repair, kind of on record for the 98. Hopefully didn't use it earlier. He may be waiting a minute for some damage repairs. It looked like a lot of drivers to pit road, and I believe Christopher Pendle and John Ashby may have stayed out.
They're actually coming down pit road this time. Looked like Christopher Pendle wanted to get lap led. As John, sorry to cut you off again, but John Ross looks to be the biggest move out of everybody, going from 10th to the lead here.
Yeah, most definitely is. We'll see how things play out for them. Yeah, that wreck was a big game changer for a few drivers there, and it's going to be hard to see how that's going to affect others, especially with that incident coming off the wall the way it did. That was that's violent, maybe the most violent wreck we see today. And with Christopher Pendle and John Ashby waiting until the second time to come around, they're going to get black flags going down pit road, and it's going to be a hold penalty, I believe, is what it is for this. I'm not certain. We'll see how long their stops are. That might be an EOL, because I see stops are about 16 seconds for Ashby and 15 and a half for Christopher Pendle. So some decent stop times. So we'll see how these penalties line up. It might be in the longest line for the restart. And the 71 of Ashby, which is 40 on your screen, give him an EOL penalty for the incident, so he'll be credited with that crash. unfortunately, it's not a mark you want to have. So John Ross and Del Valle-Kett will lead us to the restart zone. 16 of Chris Lawrence might really go with the pedal down there coming off of pit road. It's going to be quite a ways behind the field, not going to be able to catch that draft. So if we stay green here for a long run, he's potentially going to be the next car that we see as the iRacing.com official pace car pulls to pit road. And the Atlanta 400 will get ready to get back underway with the 44 of Ross. He gets on the lob pedal in the Geico restart zone. And the 78 of Richard Ode. He's been in the top 5, but hasn't quite ran second yet. He's going to try to outdo Valle-Kett as they roll into 1. And he'll take over that runner-up position in that Toyota. So we got a Ford to Toyota who's going to lead the field back to green. And we got a Chevy following in suit behind that. So, you know, if we put Dodge back in this running, we probably have a Dodge in the top 5 as well.
And up top, we got Brandon Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith making a hard charge back to the very front here.
Making a hard charge. You gotta watch that 3 of Troy Thomas. I'm not sure exactly what's going on in the cockpit of that number 3 Mountain Dew, but he was on the wall twice in the last lap. But we had the 18 of JD Larson had to come down for a clear meatball flag. And so he had I don't know exactly what happened to the 16 there, but he had to come in and get a fast repair. Had to use that up, and he's back out here. He's going to end up going a lap down to the field there, getting going. Right now it's still the 71 of John Ashby has come back to pit road, so I imagine he's going to serve the penalty, so that maybe it's a Dodger or something for that pit stop. Or that, or he's got some other issues going on, because he's back on pit road, so maybe it's changed a little bit. Some other issues, depending on how the meatball flag, they're not sure exactly what's going on. But they're getting issues around here, but they've been verified by the race admins that they could have those flags cleared for whatever reason they're going on. But up front, we got a 2-car breakaway right now, and it's kind of hard to see that, so you have to watch to see how fast this is still behind the catch. It's going to be the 15 of Kinsley Smith and the 13 of Honeycutt out front by themselves.
We got really hard battling back here for what I believe is the 7th spot between Troy Thomas, Cole Larson, Curtis Euchre, Brian LaPratte's in there as well. Oh, actually, Troy Thomas on the apron got loose, staved it though.
Yeah, great hands by Troy Thomas in the 3. He's been a little all over the place lately, so I'm not sure if he's got his mind on something else in that cockpit, but it's definitely starting to plague him a little bit as the 78 of Richard Ode and the 55 of Truth Hook have got their things together. They've ran down your race leaders. So we'll have to see if Ode wants to go to the leader, if they're going to follow in suit and follow. Here is the 40 of John Ashby on the apron and coming back off of pit road. And I was looking here, fast time in this race belongs to John Ross right now on the 44, 29.797. It's definitely a draft lap. I believe they get a little bit quicker here, but that's got, you know, you have to play in fresh tires and keeping a great pack of cars behind you, get that push going, able to run with it here. And to run down the race leaders even, still great laps, and still running 30.2 second lap times right now. The fastest in this pack right now is Del Valle-Kett with a 30.027 last time.
Second group seems to have calmed itself down again, being led by JD Larson, who's a couple laps down here.
Yeah, I was going to say, Kinsley Smith needs to find some more sponsors. As much as he's out front, he's getting a lot of camera time. That Budweiser and Apple sponsored 15 of Smith. Fantastic run thus far, keeping the cameras on him, as well as the rest of the front 5. You get Richard Ode, who we've seen out front multiple times in the PAL sponsored 13. And he's got a few sponsors aboard that 13 Toyota. And you can look at Richard Ode in the 78. And I was trying to figure out exactly what's on the front of that thing. It's like some sort of cancer ribbon, but I'm not certain per se. But great looking number 78 Toyota Camry. I'll get a little closer to that one to see what's going on with it. The Sherry Strong, so I imagine it's some sort of cancer ribbon on that car. So it's fantastic to see him supporting that. Look at the 55 Wrangler car of Truth Hokies, always wanted to be kind of up front as well. And you got another Budweiser sponsored ride there, that number 9 of Del Valle Cut. And this is the first time I've seen him race, but he seems to be up front. Pretty much one of the drivers that tries to stay in command as well. A great run as we progress to this race. Lap 98 is in the books as we come to lap 99 this time around. Unfortunately for the drivers in these packs, the 94 not having the issues with the flashing headlights. Still a little bit there, but it hasn't been terrible. I've seen a couple things pop up, but he's been pretty solid here today. Definitely seems to have figured something out to keep him rolling with the pack and not having to drop out. And right now he's running back in the 8th position in that second pack. But opportunity at Curtis Ecker kind of rolling along with them in the 8. Pendo having a great run here today. It continues to go well for him here. We've got 161 laps to go. The field comes off into the looks like to be looking to get to the back of the 16 of Chris Lawrence here in the next, I'd say, 5 laps. To put him a lap down as Lawrence currently running back in number 14. So he'll end up running that lap down here in those coming laps. Good to see these drivers still out here, even though they're outside the draft. It's a little frustrating running out there by yourself. Trying to close the gap here. Got quite a ways to go to catch that top 5. But everybody pretty much comfy and hanging out here. Seeing how things roll for this.
Yeah, I think these guys are starting to realize that we're close to halfway, but we're not there just yet. So don't have to try any sort of heroics to try and get to the front just yet. So I think everyone's starting to find that calmness and just kind of run in a line, run where you are, just get these laps ticked down and start getting to the end of this race.
Yeah, most definitely. I think also with that being said, we've got a few of these guys where they've had to kind of sit back a little bit and realize that aggressiveness, we had a few of them kind of get toned down a little bit by having to use that faster car already. And of course, they don't use that yet, but they're at the point now where things have kind of gone outside of their control, and a couple of them haven't used those faster pairs where a little bit more damage than they wanted, and the option, waiting on the optional to get fixed a couple pit stops later. It's kind of gone out the window. It's, it takes several minutes to get fixed. But right now, they're just kind of able to roll with it. When you're early in the race, you have a while to get that damage repaired as long as it's not hindering you too terribly bad. But as of right now, we're getting to that point where you don't have a whole lot of stops left. I think you might have 2 or maybe 2. Maybe a third one if they're cutting it that close to the fuel. But that could definitely play a role in where they stand and how this race is going to end, for sure. See the 15 of Kinsley Smith worked his way around the 16 to put Chris Lawrence that lap down that we were talking about momentarily, just about 4 laps ago.
It looked like
Yeah.
it looked like Chris snagged the wall a little bit, trying to let the leaders by. It looked like he tried to pull off of it and almost turned him around there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you want to give them as much room as you can, and especially try to keep the race etiquette out there and give them that opportunity to get around you and not have any issues. But sometimes there's such a thing as giving them too much room, and there's also such a thing as the leader wanting more room than you can give them. Unfortunately, that could be an issue. But the 16 took it upon himself, and He gave him more room than he had to give him and found himself in a little bit of trouble, but he was able to keep that car pointed in the right direction. All four wheels on the ground, keeping it going forward, so we'll stay green here. Keep it, the leaders here all together and see how they go about continuing today's race. They roll across the start-finish line to begin lap 108. So great racing action here up front, and all throughout the field is all 20 drivers. I'd say all 20 still on the racetrack. We're down to 18 right now, and Andrew Tuft is leading, bringing up the tail of the field. He is the caboose right now in the 18th spot, as Alan Bergen's taking his car the 00 car, so that'll be where he gets his credit for results today.
Also, Ron, I was gonna say, I don't know if you noticed, but that gap between the first group and second group is getting smaller and smaller by the lap. Just the gap between Cole Larson and Dale Valiquette has gone down almost half a second in the span of 2 laps.
Yeah, most definitely. They're going to be caught up here before probably about the start-finish line. They're within that. They're getting within that group where the 33. Cole Larson's going to start catching that draft, and he will be right there with them. You can see them. They're all together. They're on screen. They're in the same frame, so that he should be starting to pick up that draft here momentarily, and they will run with each other here as they come down the back straightaway. So that gap is closing, and they will probably be together here before we get back to the start finish line. If not, it'll be pretty close. So we have a lap car in that mix as well.
Yeah, it's JD Larson.
Yeah, that may have been what started pulling these guys together, and that Rock and Roll 18, definitely be the chain to link the groups back together. He is kind of a sitting duck by himself. Oh, there we go. We got a battle for the 3rd spot now. A little change up here looks like the 9 of Valiquette. So we had the 78. Step out, and I think he might have picked a bad time to go backwards. You have to follow all the way back to Curtis Ecker in the 8. So I don't know if he saw something he didn't like and decided to move out or not. Anthony Smith's going to continue to lead, but the 78 of Richard Ode decided to step out. He went all the way back to the 7th spot, which on a draft track like this with the high lane can get a great advantage. Occasionally, it does work out pretty well. We'll see how long it takes for the second group to get antsy now that they're kind of together again. I mean, there's some minor gaps here and there. Gaps right now, but I think he was looking to potentially step out, but he stepped out to slow his momentum. One of Brian Pratt. So we'll see how aggressive they decide to get with this. They try to go forward, potentially try to. Kimberly Smith's still leading out front in that Napa number 15. Looking at standings wise right now, you got the 15 of Kimberly Smith, Brandon Lincoln currently running in the 2nd, Chris Oakley's 3rd, the 55, 4th right now is Del Valiquette in the 9, top 5 Cole Larson, 6th is Curtis Ecker, 7th Richard Ode, 8th is Christopher Pindle, 9th Brian LaPratt, and 10th, the top 10 right now is Aaron Rock. Kirby Williams got outside the top 10 looking in at the moment in that number 10 Toyota. So, kind of interesting. Talking about manufacturing earlier, but the majority of your top 10 are Chevys right now. So it's quite interesting. We got seven Chevys in the top 10 right now. 1 Ford, 2 Toyotas in the top 10. So it's an interesting little factor of manufacturer row, pretty much.
I noticed going through the field, the field as a whole is a pretty Chevy heavy group here. So
it looks like iRacing is a main manufacturer being Chevrolet, since I believe that's where they started out. I think it was like 2008 maybe when iRacing first came around. I know I didn't get involved with iRacing in general until 2012, and that's when I started making the switch, and it was very heavily and super late models and the iRacing Legend cards. It's always fun to see how things played out. I've been around since 2012 with iRacing. I'm mainly a dirt oval guy, but I've been finding some fun in the asphalt side here lately, running a little bit of NASCAR stuff. As you see Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt working together. That's the camaraderie was kind of, I don't even say it died in iRacing. It depends on who, you know, if you got a group to work with, it's great. When you get into draft racing early in the season, it's hard to find people to work with. This Cole Larson makes them their own this spot. So things changing throughout the field.
Yeah, they've both been. Oh, as JD Larson's getting loose, saves it. But I was about to say both Cole Larson and Cole Larson and Curtis Ecker were both had attempts to get around JD Larson there, and just for whatever reason could not get around him at all.
Yeah, I had a car get loose in the back of this pack, and I think it was the 16 of Lawrence, but he was able to keep that car together. He got loose off the corner, and he did that on his own. But yeah, it got a little dicey there for a minute, and we're gonna have about 3 cars lose the draft. They could probably work together as to get back to this pack. I don't think the speed numbers will be too much, but I think it's going to keep them. They may not be able to catch them, but it will keep them. It'll help them maintain their speed to not have to worry about going that lap down to this thing. But right now up front, it is still Kinsley Smith the race lead in the Napa. Bubba's there 15. The 13 of Honeycutt, the Pals 13, having a great run here, keeping that second spot. And the Wrangler 55, a Truth Hope. With the Racers Elite Series, having a great run today as well. Death Alex Betts kind of been hanging on. He's started third, hanging out in that 4th spot right now. Curtis Ecker's up from the 13th spot, or 12th spot, up to position number 5. So he's having a great run, keeping that car up there as well. Curtis Ecker, great run. Richard Oates having a great run. Cole Larson looking to be here at the end as he's sitting in the 7th position. Chris McPindle will be looking to try to pick up the podium, at least value his efforts in that 94 Ford. We'll have to see. Like you said, the Chevrolet manufacturer odds are up to pick up a win because they have so many cars in the field, but it's not always the case having the greatest number of cars in the field versus, you know, you can be that one oddball that just happens to be the one that has the right arrow to get it done here at Atlanta. So we got the pit stop at lap 104. That's been a few laps ago. Looking over here, Andrew Tufted come down and had some stops there. They had a stop there, and it seemed to look okay. So look at it. They had a little bit of damage on that car. Maybe not a lot. It was a 15.3 second stop. It's pretty optimal for most of the drivers here. You got a couple that are cutting out a little shyer, so it might be a difference in the amount of fuel being added to the car to help with their fuel strategy. But he spent about 40. It takes about almost 41 seconds to get down pit road as here comes Andrew Tuft coming back in, but I didn't see a penalty or anything, so not sure what's going with the 98 car. He's returning to pit road. I know he's multiple laps down already. And look, we got 9 laps down right now. So unfortunately for him, you know, the head guy in charge here having some issues at Atlanta and having to kind of battle through. Looking here, your race leader Kinsley Smith is about a quarter of a straightaway away from reaching the back of the 3, which is kind of hard to see because Troy Thomas, always a great competitor as well with the Racers Elite Network. He's potentially going to go a lap down here soon with the field as he's got I believe Chris Lawrence, So he's got some other drivers with him. They're gonna go a lap down here coming up. And I believe the man in charge was informing these drivers that they are gonna go a lap down here. I think Andrew Tuft was explaining some rules to some drivers here about the yielding to lap drivers. So the race etiquette that is being enforced during this race is Andrew letting these guys know. Since being cars 4 or more laps down are expected to yield to the lead lap racers, which is, you know, it's a respect thing, and the penalty for it is removed. So some of these drivers that they need to move out of the way. So I'm thinking that they're probably hinting at the 18 and JD Larson, who was mixed in with the race leaders here. As you can see them, they're approaching Troy Thomas right now in that 3 car. As the 50 and the 71 have also hit pit road. That is Terry Fennell and John Ashby are on pit road right now, and there was some, I think that might have been something to do with maybe a yield or something of that nature. There were black flags issued to the 71 of John Ashby, 50 of Terry Fennell. So he might have had a too fast entering, so he might have had a hold. We can look at that here.
Terry Fennell's also pulled his car behind the wall. So is Andrew Teft and John Ashby.
Thanks for those updates. I was looking for those, but awesome that you were to bring those to me and keep you from having to fumble and find or research, so to speak. We got a battle now as Truth Hope going to look to the inside of the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt for the second
Brandon
spot.
Honeycutt it in the wall.
Honeycutt into the outside wall, and he's going to relinquish those spots and lose a little bit of position with that damage and a little bit of friction slowdown on the safer barrier as they roll around the speedway. And Truth Hope will take him to the second spot. Valaket in the 9 will go to P3 as Kinsley Smith going to take over the race lead. Here we go. Truth Hope looks to the outside. I thought for a second Kinsley Smith was going to try to close the door, and I think he saw it a moment too late. Truth Hope changes for the race lead, and Valaket tries to follow suit. Kinsley Smith battles hard on the inside. Truth Hope needs to bring that number 9 with him. The 9 kind of tries to use a side draft a little bit as they come across the line, not enough to get him there. We'll have to see if Truth Hope can bring the 9 of Valaket forward, as Truth Hope's now going to leave the 9 of Valaket to the top side by himself. He said we tried it, it didn't work. He's going to have to try to get it up there himself now as they work down the back straightaway. Here comes Valaket on the outside, and it looks like Truth Hope's not going to leave the pit. Ooh, that was tight. There's the 9 squeezed down in front of the 50 to Smith. Smith was not happy about that. Did not like the way that went down. He moved out of the line just enough to keep contact from happening and slow his car down, and that allowed Honeycutt to reposition himself behind him. But definitely here comes another run, and the 15 of Smith not done yet. Here comes Valaket. He's going to go to the race lead, potentially off the turn number 2 down the back straightaway, and we got a race up front going on now.
It's 3 lead changes in the span of 3 laps. These guys realize that we officially have hit halfway, and the gloves are off now, so to speak, as Kinsley is now going for the lead on the outside of Valaket. Looks like everyone's pretty much settled down now, and it's like, okay, yeah, we had our fun. We had our fun for a couple laps. It's time to get back into the groove here. As looks like Cole Larson back here is in 7th spot. Looked like, I don't know if he had a run on Christopher Pendle or if Christopher Pendle was trying to just wave him by on the high side, but them doing side by side like that is gonna make a huge gap to this this top 6 here.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard racing going on, and you know, here comes what is Hector going on the bottom in the 8. What has happened to the 8 car?
He just disappeared.
Wow, hopefully this doesn't end up like another Andrew Tuff situation. That would be a game changer at a little over halfway, as we've lost the 8 for the time being. We'll see if he reappears anytime throughout this, but not looking good for the 8 cars. Let's see, and he dropped probably back here. I've shown him out.
I see, yeah, I see him out.
This is not good for Curtis Eckler. He was having a great run. That just, wow. That's terrible. Hopefully, we don't. This, wondering if it's an iRacing situation. Curtis Eckler's dropped out. Hopefully, everything's okay. As the 15 of Kinley Smith still continues to lead over Brandon Honeycutt in the 9 of Del Valle Cup. But man, that dropped to the inside. I thought, man, he's mad at somebody and something happened. We missed, or yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's technical difficulty for the racers here in Atlanta, but unfortunately for him, having to lose such a great run, he's going to end up joining Terry Fennell, John Ashby, Andrew Tufton, Alan Bergen at the trailer to watch this one for the time being. We'll see if he comes back and tries to rejoin. But man, it seems like everybody's dropped out 4 to 5 laps per time that they've dropped out. So unfortunately for him, out of this event for the time being. We'll see if he decides to rejoin or not. But JD Larson will be looking to make up those laps on the Curtis Eckler machine. Pretty much single file here for everybody for the time being. Not a whole lot of position changes here. I think the last position change we had was Chris Lawrence getting around Curtis Eckler, and that was due to the technical difficulty, so it wouldn't even really be a battle for position at that point.
So one thing to note here is we are approaching our first green flag pit stop of the day. We should be seeing green flag pit stops, these guys making green flag pit stops in about the next, I'd say 10 to 15 laps here is when we should start seeing it.
Green flag stops are always a interesting factor here, and always great to see what these drivers can do on and off of pit road as they roll through. And you never know, somebody that practices pit stops a little bit more might have a little bit more of an edge, or you know, that's one of the things iRacing took away from us during testing. Is you got to run now coming for the second spot. Valaket tries to go to the outside. Honeycutt's going to push him around a little bit, try to knock him off that side draft. May have gave him just enough to run that high side around by himself. Getting a slingshot past Smith. Smith moves up the racetrack a little bit. Honeycutt's going to push with the number 9 Budweiser car, as they're going to try to hold him off. And it looks like he's going to fall back. You're going to have to go all the way back behind the 78 of Richard Ode there in that Toyota to able to stay with this lead pack, unless somebody in front of him moves up. But Tote's always also been a driver to move up. It looks like he's going to fall back in line here. That little move that is going to allow Christopher Pendle in that second group to catch up with his whole front pack and knock on the out of sync, if you will.
Yeah, I think Dale had the right idea there to try and get to the front of this group to command the green flag stops, knowing that it's going to be happening really soon here. He just didn't have anyone to go with him. I figured the 55 of Truth Hoke was going to go with, but he just had no help.
Yeah, Wrangler 55 Sim Magic sponsored ride. Always a great driver to work with, and if Valaket could have got his help, I believe they could have taken the race lead and controlled when this next pit stop was going to happen, and definitely commanded the way that the field would have made the pit stop strategy changes as far as how they're going to play out the rest of this race. But I know they've definitely got a few stops yet left. They at least probably 2 at the most 3 for sure. And a long race here, and patience, virtue, and a key factor for sure to keep these cars rolling around the racetrack. It's a hard one. You know, it's always a hard one to fight if something were to happen late in the going and you end up sitting on the pit road for like the last 20 laps of this race. It becomes a hard one to go. You see him getting a little wobble back and forth to the 78. Oh, trying to keep that car straight with the 9 of Alaquette behind him, pushed him around. Like a little back and forth there, a little seesaw action going on the wheel inside the 78 car. Honeycutt was up 12 spots from the start of this race. He started from the 14th position, the number 13 Toyota. It's always been great to see. It's like having Honeycutt up here in the field, helping out the race leaders. Honeycutt's been pushing. I think he's been hanging out in that second spot for the majority of this race. Between him and Alaquette, the two that kind of been hanging out there for the most part.
Yeah, the majority of this race seems to have really definitely been the Kinsley Smith and the Brandon Honeycutt show, especially once Honeycutt finally got to the front from starting the 14th towards the back of the field. But those two have definitely been the dominant cars this race.
So I teased Thursday about the Tuff family being the dynamic duo and the duo of destruction to come up and kind of wipe everything out. And of course, Andrew did pick up that race win, which was kind of funny. That, you know, I kind of brought it up that way, but here it's going to be, like you said, Smith and Honeycutt's race to lose at the moment. They're out front leading this thing, and I always say you run into these draft tracks, and at the end of the race, when it comes down to it, if you're not out there by yourselves, it looks like
Pit stops
are coming. The drivers making their way down to the pit entry here. You gotta watch, and this is the thing that kills me on, is these cars get tight. You saw Kinsley Smith have that issue, and that might be a violation.
That'll be a pit road violation.
You saw him kind of get out of control.
And he's speeding on pit entry.
Yeah, big. It went for 2. Smith and Honeycutt both got busted on the entry of pit road for speeding. There's a lot of the field coming now. I think the only driver staying out right now is going to be the 55 of Truth Hope, as he stayed up high on the racetrack. He's going to be out there by himself at the race lead. So, but breaking news is Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt both going to have to serve penalties, and I believe, I don't know for certain, but Kinsley Smith's penalty is going to get stacked. So we'll have to see how that goes. It looks like everybody else besides those two so far good to go on pit road. We'll have to see how things go for the 55 of Truth Hope coming to pit road.
Yeah, I would say as he comes to pit road.
Yeah, 2 big names now penalized. You're going to have to serve penalties here during this race, and this is not the portion of the race you want to be receiving penalties in. The first quarter of the race is about the only time that you really, if a mistake has to happen, that's when you want it to be. Now it's going to be a little harder to make up that ground in time with 109 laps remaining. And Truth Hope made it to pit road unscathed, so we'll have to see if he can get off without getting penalized. And Brandon Honeycutt has had one of his penalties served. I don't know if it's going to take care of both of them. They may have been, I know that they were holds, so their pit stops having to be, I think, 40-second holds for those drivers. So hopefully able to serve them. Drivers' black flags appear to have been cleared. So the penalties served, and they'll be able to maintain race pace here. Catch back up. Watching Truth Hope leave pit road here, and he was the benefactor of the race lead. We'll see if he's able to get back into the race pace, but it looks like Christopher Pendle may potentially be your new race leader here. We'll see as the 55 gets caught by the field. He gets pretty much chewed up and swallowed whole there as the 94 catches up. Truth Hope's going to be at race speed, but I don't know. I think he's going to be just far enough back. He might not be able to stay with the lead pack there is I think they may be going around him. He's up to 180 now. So he might hang with them momentarily. He might be right there at that little bit of a gap to kind of set it up. So we'll see how that plays out for him here momentarily.
Yeah, the big losers out of that entire green flag stop there is definitely Brandon Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith with those pit road infractions. I would definitely say the biggest gainer out of all that was Christopher Pendle. He's been around the top 5 most of the day, top 5, top 10, but here he is leading with just about 100 laps to go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Kinsley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt both now. They're back running 11th and 12th though, so that, you know, they lost 10 spots each with that issue, and hopefully Pendle can get his connections straightened out and doesn't lose anything with that network issue he's been fighting all season so far in the Thursday series. As he's out front leading, and hopefully it doesn't play a role in this front trio of Cole Larson and Valakut following and kind of pushing him around. If it doesn't play a role in anything like that, and I know if I knew I was having issues like that, yeah, I want to win the race, but I think Pendle's also got to realize it could be what takes him in the top 3 out and causes the yellow. So I think I'd be playing caution to the air, and maybe I'd be running that 3rd spot, helping push these guys along in the 16. So Chris Lawrence on a lap down here again, another lap down I should say, in the 13th spot. He's kind of, I don't know if he didn't see them coming, he kind of was out there and had to give a little bit of room there. But everybody's kind of cycled their pit stops and drivers making their way around. Looking here, another update. Aaron Roth came to pit road, and I believe he was too fast entering and had a hold. He had a 55.4 second stop, so he got held for too fast entering the pits. He is now leaving the pits now and returning to race speed out of turn number 3. So he's getting back to race pace, but unfortunately that's going to set him back a little bit. So this it's kind of interesting that these drivers are getting pit entry speeding penalties with the entrance being in the middle of the back. You think you have that whole corner to get slowed down, but apparently I know you can only get in there and get out, but you know, the get in get out sequence gets ruined when you gotta serve that extra 40 seconds for that speeding violation.
Well, with the pit entry here at Atlanta, it can be deceiving, especially when you know you're over halfway through a 400-mile race like this, and you know you haven't taken it at speed yet. It's all been under caution. So being this late into the race and having our first official green flag stop, a lot of these guys, I don't want to put it up to like lack of knowledge or anything like that, but just not even lack of practice. It's just it's been so long since these guys have been able to do a green flag stop or even a simulated green flag stop that sometimes you just don't realize how much speed you're carrying on that apron, and it ends up biting you in the butt.
Yeah, it definitely shows that the best of the best here with the Racers Elite Network can get caught up in the tragedy, and unfortunately some of them it's kind of due to victim of circumstance. You know, you can go to pit road and you get this, you know, you're out here drafting with these guys and they don't quite break the distance between the drivers so much, so when they actually go to pit road, you know, like driving your regular everyday car, object in the mirror may be closer than they appear. So they have to look in that mirror, and the field of view is set different. They feel like that car's a little bit closer, it forces them to pit road that much faster, and if they don't ride that brake enough to get slowed down, and it causes some issues as well. The draft pack is now going to work around the 51 or 57 of Aaron Roth and put him a lap down here as he's already multiple laps down. We'll move him back one more lap further as he mingles in with this draft and of course he'll try to be a benefactor of that lucky dog. Maybe here next time that they come to pit road.
Yeah, and looking through the field here, this front group is the most. I don't want to say the most organized because you got the group. I'd say probably about half a lap behind them, with Honeycutt, Smith, and Thomas, who are pretty well organized as well. But I mean, this front group has 5 cars in it, so this is definitely, of the groups that are out there on track right now, this is definitely going to be the faster group, making it harder for these guys to try and catch these top 3.
I see the 33 at Cole Larson step out there momentarily as the 9 of Alaquette looking to maybe try to pull that draft of Pendle and pull his 9 into that runner-up position. That's not happening. These 3 have kind of broke away by themselves as they allowed that lap car. The 16 was sneaking his way into this mix. So the 16 is a lap down, but he's got 2 lap cars following behind your race leaders. And I know the 16 probably didn't want to see Aaron Roth get tangled in that, but that's kind of the way it's going right now. And those drivers, a little distance there between them is, you know, the 16 Lawrence used to be a lap ahead of Aaron Ross, so probably not too big of a deal for Chris in that position. Seeing a little change up back there is Chris Lawrence and Aaron Roth going to switch to pusher position. As may potentially cost them the draft with the race leaders. So the 9 of Valaquette going to potentially drive away there. We'll see if the lap cars are able to catch back up with them. It looks like the gap wasn't too bad with the 16. May fall even further back though. It's like there's quite a gap forming there between him and the 57. 57 has caught the back of the 9, so he's going to run with them, kind of hang out and see what he can make of the situation. We see about 92 laps remaining here. I'll step away for just a minute if you want to take the mic, and I'll key up when I get back next.
Yeah, I got you. And so, as Ron was saying, 92 laps to go, coming to 91 to go here. Our top 5 as it stands currently: Christopher Prendle leading the charge, followed by Cole Larson, Dale Valaquette, Brian LaPratte sitting in 4th, and Richard O rounding out the top 5. The field, thanks to the green flag pit stops, is spread out quite a bit, but everyone's behaving, everyone's keeping in line with the pack they're in. We should see one more green flag pit stop sometime throughout this event, and then these guys will be able to go the rest of the way. As Cole Larson looks to be pretty happy and content sitting here in 2nd. As well, the 16 there ended up getting loose coming off of turn number 4 there. He's going to end up losing the draft to the top 4, or the 4-car pack right here. As Christopher Pendle continues to lead the Atlanta 400 here this afternoon. Dale Valaquette leaving a gap between him and Cole. kind of makes you wonder if he's trying to signal to Cole, hey, fall back to me, so we can get a run on Chris and take over the lead here, or if he's just kind of riding around where he's at.
Thank you for that, Mac. And let's see, Matt's kind of hanging out down there, so his stuff's corrected. He was waiting on getting things ready to roll. Right now, looking at 87 laps remaining, and your race leader still out front, Christopher Pendle, leading us along. Cole Larson hanging on to that second spot. Now him and Del Valle have been kind of swapping roles throughout this race, as Brian LaPratte now. I mean, Brian has been a part of that second group for a long time in that 101 car, and he's kind of been leading them around. So it's been quite interesting to see how things go for him, as he's still leading that, but he's got Truth Hope behind him pushing him along now, so he's got another great racer there behind him to see how things could play for them as well. It's been interesting to see that 101 leading that pack. He's in the 4th spot now. Earlier in the race, that would have been more like the 7th or 8th position where he's currently running, but now that's the 4th spot. They're working with the 16, so looks like the 16 of Chris Lawrence is going to try to work with them now. Leaving the 78 of, let's see where he went to. 78 in the 6th spot, Richard Ode, helping Truth Hope them along as well. But Christopher Pendle up front in that Gatorade ride, it's getting pushed along by the 33 of Cole Larson. Still a great position battle there, as those 4 drivers, I don't think any one of those 4 don't have it in their mind to not go away with today's race win.
A lot can happen with our last set of pit stops that still have to be made sometime within the next, I'd say probably about 40 to 50 laps here now. So who knows? We could see another instance like the Honeycutt and the Honeycutt and Smith incident, where they both ended up having one or multiple pit road infractions. I mean, it can happen to any one of these drivers, and potentially even ended up costing them a possible chance at winning this race.
Most definitely, and another factor to note here, weather-wise, maybe put a lot going here. I was also looking at some brand, so to speak, as I was staring at the 33 of Cole Larson. I wanted to step outside. He has help. If he goes to the outside, Valaquette has just confirmed, if you go outside, I'm going with you. That move was just defined. But not so much. Caution flag is out. This looks to involve maybe the 3 of Troy Thomas and the 16
Oh no!
of Chris Lawrence in the tri-oval, from what I'm seeing here. Let's take a look back. There's another Mountain Dew sponsor, right? 3 of Troy Thomas. Don't see a lot of damage there, but go ahead.
I would say, yeah, that was between Chris Lawrence and Troy Thomas. I'm not exactly sure what happened. We're gonna go to the replay here. I know Chris was kind of slow, off pace a little bit. Looks like he just got loose coming out of turn 4 and just ended up having to come down, or ended up coming down right into Troy Thomas, sending both of them into the outside wall.
Yeah, tough break. A lot of heavy damage to both of those cars. I don't know if fast repair wise what they've got left. I imagine the 16's race might be done for. Chris Lawrence might be. And looking here, Curtis Ecker did drop out earlier. He is done. I believe he called Funmeter pegged. He's done. Drivers down pit road. Go ahead.
Now this is very interesting. There's 80 laps left, as it stands right now. Pit window is 65 laps roughly, 65, maybe 70 if you're in the draft. So this might actually come down to who saves enough fuel in the draft. as long as it goes green the rest of the way. If there's another caution, everyone can pit, do a splash of fuel, be perfectly fine to get to the end. But if this goes green the rest of the way, this might actually be to the point to where who saved enough fuel to go these, I'm assuming, going to be 76, 77 laps as we go back green.
Yeah, very good point there. It's hard to tell what's going to happen here with the closing laps of this one, and tell you what, the benefactor for this caution, and this is what a lot of these drivers up front didn't want to see. The benefactor for this caution is actually, and it's going to come back to that same duo. We're looking at Kinsley Smith, and you know, him and Brandon Honeycutt. They're now 9th and 10th right now, and this caution pit stop is going to bring them back together, and that duo will probably work back to the front. So Christopher Pendle and Valiquette probably don't want to see this. Cole Larson probably don't want to see it. And anyone that I think would be happy, maybe Brian LaPratt, who was in the 4th spot but was spread out with this field, as Christopher Pendle's coming back to pit road.
So is Cole Larson. I wonder if they're topping off, trying to get that extra lap just to be on the safe side.
Well, so there's potential for that too. Trying to get that extra lap of fuel. Maybe this is going to play back into this. Well, I don't know how to put this, but Cole Larson was given a black flag upon pit road entry, so this isn't going to play out the way he wanted it to. So he's going to have at least his hold will be under caution, but they are getting the 1 to green, so it's not going to be too helpful here. I don't believe it says he left the pits, so I don't know what that black flag might have come out as they were leaving pit road. He might have come back in, but you have to serve that under green, so that definitely isn't why he came back in. So don't know what's going to happen with that 33 on this restart. This could be the deal breaker for him. However, Kinsley Smith and let's see where Honeycutt's now going to move up a little bit here. So we'll see how things go for these drivers on the restart. This is going to play in the hands of of the race leaders for sure. But now we're going to see something we haven't seen all day, and that is going to be Del Valiquette with the race lead. He's been somewhat aggressive, so we'll have to see how aggressive he is trying to keep this race lead. How much is he going to block or try to stay out front? You know, I mean, we're within 78. You know, we're within 78 laps to go, and Cole Larson's cleared, so I'm not sure what that was for. So we'll see here as the iRacing.com official pace car goes back to pit road. And Del Valiquette will have the field in hand here as he comes down to the Geico restart zone. And he's going to get on the loud pedal here about halfway through. Great spot to get on it. Truth Hope going to take over the 2nd spot. Not the restart at field that Brian LaPratt wanted. And he's going to fall to the 3rd spot, but he's, you know, kind of going to stay with the race leaders now. And this is the first time we've seen him run with the front half of the field. Most of this race since he was leading the 2nd pack for the majority of this race. He's kind of put himself in position to stick with them here as they roll down. And I'll tell you what, Truth Hope and that Wrangler 55 had a great restart, great run into turn 3, and Valiquette not able to stay out front, so maybe not the skill set that he wants, or not in his mind to be out front. Maybe now he feels that I feel he's probably further back now that he's been all race, but maybe he's trying to get out of some. Now you see Kirby Wainscott, the race's Elite 10, has moved his car into the top 5 running spots. So great moves for the drivers to get up front, but they've still got the likes of Brandon Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith. He's going to have to try and find a way to get out of that 2nd pack. The aggressiveness back there is going to maybe force them to lose that lead. I feel that the 9 maybe should have made that move to fall in behind Honeycutt when he had the chance, but John Ross is now going to try to close that gap in 5th position.
I would say Honeycutt wasted no time trying to get back to the front on that restart.
Yeah, back to the point before that caution, I was going to mention that we had a lot of Mountain Dew cars sponsored throughout the field here, but saying I think it's June of this year. You said they're going to be releasing a Dragon Fruit Mountain Dew.
I saw that.
Kind of excited, not gonna lie. I'm kind of excited for that.
I personally, I love trying the new flavors, even if I don't necessarily care for it. Like when, I think, what was it, last June? May or June, they did that like mango flavor. Like I don't like mango personally, but I'm like, it's Mountain Dew. I have to try it. You know.
Right. Yeah, it's like what was it? Dr. Pepper did those different black cherry. I forget exactly what it was that they did here, but I kind of enjoyed that. It was different.
They have a
Yeah.
cream soda that's pretty good too.
Yeah, the cream soda one's good. But there was, I think there was that, and there was something else they did. Dark berry. That's what it was. Dark berry. Yeah, it was kind of highlighted a certain aspect for Dr. Pepper. So good stuff. I think it's phased out for right now, but when that comes around, it's always something to have. World soda drinkers. I'm not saying that they're missing out on a lot because I know it's not technically good personally. You know what? You only live once, you gotta live a little. Toke is living a little, and he's living a dream out front in that 55 Wrangler ride. And I think, did he pick the right time to do it? Oh, we're gonna find out. We've got 71 laps to go here, and he's out front for I believe it's the first time he's had the race lead today. Laps throwing him down in the 101 of Brian LaPratt is working with him in the 10 of Kirby Wainscott, hanging on to the third position, number 10. Brendan Honeycutt in fourth right now. John Ross is fifth. Front runners here. John Ross has been, I'd say, the most consistent. Brendan Honeycutt as well, hanging on to that race lead with him and Kendley Smith. The duo there is they're kind of separated, and I think that might be the plan of the field right now to try to keep them from getting back up there. But it appears that the 13 of Honeycutt can almost work with anybody as he's in the fourth position after they get pit road. Trying to highlight here 18 of JD Larson, 57 back here. Aaron Rothwell, they've been outside the draft, and the 3 of Troy Thomas is back there. Way outside the draft, unfortunately for them. But your race leaders up front, Truth Hope hanging on right now, and he's got some company following him around the racetrack. So your top 10 looks like Truth Hope, Brian Pratt, Kirby Wainscott, Brandon Honeycutt, John Ross, Richard Ode, Christopher Pendle, Cole Larson, Del Valley-Gittens falling in the 9th spot in the 9 machine, and Kinsley Smith's hanging on to the top 10 at the moment. So maybe Kinsley thinks it's a little too early to be doing what Truth Hope is doing, or maybe even making that run with Brandon Honeycutt, knowing that there's pit stops coming. I'd say within the next 20 laps or so, we'll see the likes of Kinsley Smith trying to make do, because he's just hanging on to the back of this lead pack right now.
Yeah, he's still within the range of holding on to the draft, but he's close. He's on that very fine line of losing it too.
Shot position move here to try to, he's going to catch back up, but it seems like he's falling off, not staying behind the 9 of Valley-Gittens. So I'm curious if he's trying to do some math right now and doesn't want to be around anybody. Wants to have that room to be able to make an error and not touch anything, turn anybody, and gain any damages. Maybe he feels that this front pack's going to get racing. He wants to be in the catbird seat, you know, maybe in the like on the pirate ships, to be up top of the tower, overwatching everything, and maybe making sure that when it comes down to business, he's able to be there when it counts. Like Truth Hope being out front, maybe being out front is the place to be. Maybe the incident will happen somewhere between 55 and 15, or maybe these guys are all playing it safe and we won't see that last, that overtime with everybody being so tight here. And, I mean, you got 10 drivers. Surely somebody's thinking something. Either something's up, or they're gonna put something into motion that's not gonna work out.
So I could be wrong here, but going back and just kind of looking through the lap counter, I don't think Kinsley Smith is pitted since about lap 151. So, because I was looking back through that last caution we had, and Kinsley Smith never went down pit road.
I'd say my lap counter and car log shows what you're seeing to be true. So it's he's looking at pit stop around lap 210, roughly.
About, yeah, it'd be about lap 210. So within the next 10 laps, roughly.
So Kinsley Smith knows something that the rest of these drivers don't, and that pit stop could be the key to this if it goes green the rest of the way. Because that would put him at one more stop finishing out this race, and everybody else would have, you know, they're either going to pit at 210 with him, or does he go silent and make this a stealth stop? And I mean, anybody running a crew chief's coming up to 15 seconds. But Truth Hope out front, you know, looking here, not wrong at this at all, but lap 182 for Truth Hope to leave the pits. So he'd have to pit maybe 60 laps, would be like 240. So
yeah.
Even that, you know, they're
yeah, about 230, 240. So there's definitely going to be at least one more stop here, especially if we stay green. The biggest issue I see of Kinsley's strategy here is just that it stays green, and he ends up going a lap down again and just not being able to recover that.
Yeah, John Ross got moved up and nobody went with him there. So he's going to fall back behind Kinsley Smith. Now this might be one of those builds where maybe the 44 of Ross will go with Kinsley to pit road, seeing him lap 182 pit stop, but knowing that, you know, the race is 260, if they go together, they're a duo. We'll have to see how that goes for pit stop time. It's about 9 laps from now. We'll see the 15 will come to pit road roughly. We'll see if he short stops any at all, but he definitely make it make it interesting to see how that works for him. Everybody else is like lap 182 for pit stops. So
I'd say, yeah, everyone on the lead lap came down pretty much the same time on that last caution. So
see how it plays out as things get tight between Kinsley Smith and John Ross. A door-to-door off of turn 4 to the tri-oval. You know, that battle for position, but still way early to be getting that aggressive. But they were door-to-door. I don't think you put a piece of paper between them. I'm pretty sure it was panel to panel touching at the back of the car. Where it kind of arrows out. That was nuts watching them come to the corner that close. You got the hardest part with that is net code, because you never know when Iverson's like, yeah, you guys probably should have touched. Here you go, let's have at it anyway. But able to keep it going in a great run up to the back of the 9 of Alaquette, and the 44 of Ross pokes his nose to the inside of Smith just a little bit. He's going to think better of it and fall right back in line. But things getting a little crazy here back towards the back part of the front half of the field, up to the 10th position. A little wild here as Truth Hope continues to lead.
Stay silent for a moment. Matt, if you're here, you can chime in, but these guys have run the show for the most part, so just kind of, you know, chime in every once in a while, but not too much. Okay. Here.
That's a Matt Zay must be, he's never back in. Alright. So looking at things here, looks like the 3 of Troy Thomason has stepped aside in the 11th, or follow the 11th spot there. He is a lap down, he's going to yield to the field, but allow them to go by and let them continue their great race. They've had 55 laps remaining. And Truth Hope out front, Brian LaPratte in second, Kirby Wainscott's in the 3rd spot right now. We did have a little bit of change of position as Kinsley Smith and John Ross went back and forth there. John Ross has moved back into the 9th spot. Kinsley Smith is in the catbird seat once again. Sitting back to watch it all unfold. We'll be keeping an eye on that 15 to make that pit road stop here coming up. Having to watch it via the laps that you're allotted on fuel for the green flag run, as they keep dicing back and forth that 9 of Valakut. You know, it's kind of a strategy to kind of shake off some of the field as you're rolling around during a long race, to be able to kind of shift throughout the field and break that draft and not be able to, you know, have them not be able to maintain that speed with the lead pack, and try to maybe better your chances, kind of leaning out the field, if you will. Not having many cars there at the end, but these guys have been putting on a great show all race long. And Kinsley Smith, I don't think he's done yet. He's looking to try to get back to the race lead. Wrangler car. Looking great here on lap 208, coming to 209. We'll have 52 laps to go, so laps winding down. 260 laps to the total distance, and 208 of those are in the books right now.
Oh, it's getting dicey in the back of this field here. John Ross and Kinsley Smith side by side yet again. Dale Valakut and Cole Larson almost had a little coming together going into turn 1, but everything sorted itself out there.
Yeah, things getting a little dicey. John Ross and Kinsley Smith trying. I don't know what the deal is here as far as battling for position goes, and I feel that the 44 isn't really aware of the 15's pitting situations that should be coming up here very soon. Haven't seen anything noted.
It should be pretty much any lap here.
Yeah, just the outside. So I don't know if the 15's trying to save fuel to maybe make that stop a little bit sooner or a little bit later. But, you know, running back, like we saw, he was barely in the draft earlier and able to run him back down. But I think he might have saved a little bit. He may go lap 215 at most. That's really, I think, pushing it to the max. I'd be a little worried at that point to not be able to make it back to the max. Most of the field single file for the time being. We talked about the fastest lap of the race earlier. John Ross may be back in the 9th spot right now, and Del Valakut's going to next pick 44. The Ross Simu Motion. It's blended into the ride a little bit, but trying to keep that 44 rolling and keep things going. The 9 was trying to hold him off, was able to do so, but Ross still has the fastest lap of the race at 29.797. And these drivers are still running 30-second lap times in your top 10. They're all in the 30-second bracket, as well as, yeah, that's pretty much where they're at here. Aaron Roth in the 30-second lap time. Quite interesting to see how pit stops are going to play out in the 15. He's still out there. We'll have to see when he actually comes in. He's stretching that fuel out for sure right
now. Makes you really wonder how much he really did save sitting behind Brandon Honeycutt before that caution came out.
It's definitely been quite a good business out there. 215. It's 214 right now, so. Lap now, but he's definitely saved a good bit as the 44 Ross now trying to work to the outside of the 9 once again as they come through the tri-oval. He's almost side by side, almost right there with them. Looks like he's got the run coming into turn 1. He's gonna pull alongside the 33 of Cole Larson. So John Ross maker on the side draft. We'll see if he can keep that going. He didn't stay tucked up close enough. Valakut sees the speed that the 44's carrying. He's just looking to help him. He jumps to the high side now. We'll see if they can make something happen here. As now they roll along to the top side of the racetrack. Smith trying to run the bottom right now and try to make a few more laps. I don't know if it is. Looks like we had the back part of the field come in. Troy Thomas is down pit road. Aaron Roth has come down. JD Larson is in. So the rest of the field up here in this group, I'd say maybe pit stops coming the next lap. They're trying to make it to the end of this. We'll see if the strategy call works out for the back part of the field. As now these guys are all shaking up here.
Yeah, I would say Kinsley's coming to pit road now.
Yes, sir. Kinsley Smith coming down. Tire stop and fuel, or if he's going to try to do fuel only here for that number 15. Fortunately, he's coming by himself, and he seems to get on pit road safely. And error-free, so we'll see how that plays out. We have two drivers, 70-18, and return to the racetrack from pit road. We'll be ready to pick up some race action once again. John Ross and Valaket are under fire. Cole Larson, the 33 now is Larson on the inside of the 44 Ross. Looks like everybody's else staying on the racetrack for the time being. So now Kenzie Smith will go a lap down for the first time today, but still you have to note these drivers still have yet to come to pit road. So Kinsley Smith may have the pit stop of the race right here. That may give him the race. 15 seconds to get there. It's almost a full 40-second flat pit road stop for Kinsley Smith. On and off the pit road. So pretty good timing there to get on and off there. Valaket in the 9 and they end up falling behind Cole Larson. That run on the outside, I believe, may have died out. Not exactly sure there. Looks like he's going to get back in. Maybe he's still on the outside. Maybe he hasn't given up on that yet, but he's need a little bit more help than just John Ross. I think Ross is a little too far back to give him the push he needs. And they're not exactly really working together on that draft. When they came off of turn 2, they definitely broke their momentum a little bit. Like they're even Ross in the middle of the corner is drifted all the way up to the high side. He's not able to hold that line consistent to help that 9 make the runs that he needs here. So Ross might want to get behind that 33. Valaket might want to drop down as well until that comes a bit. So a little more apt to racing that line to help keep these cars moving forward. The better they can stick together, the more aero and the more speed they're going to carry. As it looks like the 3 of Troy Thomas Mountain Dew having some issues. He'll be trying to stay with the pack now, multiple laps down. That number 3. He'll put him 3 laps down to the field now, and he'll want to kind of stay with John Ross here if he can. As he's going to follow that draft, pick up that speed and stay with him. Maybe benefit him throughout this race as Truth Hope in the 55. The torch here at the Atlanta 400.
That second line that's slowly forming in the back has got help with Troy Thomas. They're slowly but surely starting to make moves up on the high side there.
Yeah, Troy Thomas is, I mean, as far as the ruling goes, what's the yield from the leaders? And at this point in time, with the 3, where Troy Thomas is at in this line, yielding to the leaders, I mean, I don't know what the technicalities are behind that, but if you're pushing somebody and you can put them out front, and the 44 John Ross got into the outside wall just a little bit, and Troy Thomas had to make moves there. So I don't know if, he's going to probably have to allow the 44 to get back by him, but he was helping, potentially trying to help Valaket get back to the race lead. As you see him, he's going to go to the outside lane, and you can't really tell a lap car which lane they need to be in, which lane is not going to prevail, because as you can see right now, the 9 of Valaket making moves almost by himself. They had a little bit of help from Thomas there as they were rolling down the back stretch. They haven't really gotten to the point yet, as they're trying to make battle with the 94. Christopher Findlay is currently running in the 6th position.
Remember, we saw these guys all pit about lap 182, 183. We've gone roughly 50 laps, 40 to 50 laps so far. So they're coming to 36 to go. It's getting to the point of, okay, who saved enough or who thinks they saved enough to make it to the end, or at least make it even farther than the rest of these guys to try and trap them a lap back.
Yeah, speaking of that, I was also looking. Kinsley Smith is just now coming out of turn. Your race leaders are going into turn 3, and I am very certain when he's up to the apron on the back straightaway to go to pit road, if they do it before they get to him, it will be a great sigh of relief for him, as technically he's about 2 laps down, seeing that the field is behind him, but only really 1 lap down to the back. He's right in front of him. And it wouldn't surprise me if Truth Hope doesn't have it in his mind to try to get to that 15 before he pits. So he wants to be able to make sure that Kinsley Smith isn't able to do any kind of race lead. I mean, he's got a lot of lot of potential drivers down here. We're side by side now from third on back for these front positions. A lot of these drivers trying to make up a little bit of ground before this pit stop. So it's probably about 5 to 6 laps within the pit stop coming up. 32:40, I'd say, in that ballpark before these guys come to pit road. I'd say they'll probably want to do it soon because a lot of time on fresh tires. And I'm gonna guess we're gonna probably see maybe some. If I was, I'd be even worried to take tires. I'd probably just come in and get fuel and get out, just to see if we can make some ground and try to keep drivers like Kinsley Smith coming from being a lap down from an earlier stop, a strategy stop to pick up a race win.
And I think that's one of the big strategy keys that a lot of these guys up front here are thinking about. Do you take tires? Do you just take fuel? Do you only take right sides? It's because the right sides do wear a little bit more than the left. So do you take the right sides to try and keep that balance of still having fresh rubber, but saving the time on pit road?
And that's definitely the strategy plays a role in this as well. And I always kind of put this in the back of my back pocket, carry it with me as well. I mean, you're gonna get a full tank of fuel. I mean, you've been out there for X number of laps, and you got to keep that in your mind as well. You know, hey, we were a little loose off of turn 4. You know, do we take left side? Like you said, the right side may wear out more, but do we need to tighten the car up a little? Do we take left sides only? You know, how driving style are we using? Are we pivoting the car on the right front? Are we using throttle control on the right rear? Coming off and using that to get through the corner, or you know, you're gonna be on pit road. You know, for fuel, and it's gonna take them 7 to 8 seconds to put that fuel in anyway. So you've got time to pick those 2 tires, and you're not gonna lose that time. It's gonna take them, you know, almost the same amount of time it's gonna take to fill that tank up to change 2. So, you know, do you go ahead and change the 2, or do you take the 4s? You know, this is what Kinsley Smith didn't want to see, the race attack and able to catch him. Kinsley Smith actually gonna go a lap down to the field outside of that pit stop issue. So pretty wide with lap traffic back here, and Kinsley Smith's gonna have to tuck in and wait for these guys to make a stop. Not even tuck in, rushing the wall. Wasn't giving a whole lot of room, but 3 wide, you don't have a lot of room here at Lynn anyways. It's 3 lanes wide. You've got maybe 4-inch gap between each car at 3 lanes wide, so he's gonna follow behind John Ross and try to work with him until this field goes to pit road. You know, he's gonna need this field to break up and go at separate times. So if he can get 3, I don't see it happening, but if he can get 3 broken up sections to go at different times, and he can stay with somebody and have drafting up all the way around for all 3 sections to go pit, I think that would benefit him, and it may bring him some victory here before this is over. But you know, the pit stop potentially being 40 seconds going off the pit road, that's almost 2 laps. So I mean, that's just enough, I think, for Kinsley Smith to potentially get back in this race if and when these pit stops happen.
Brian LaPrade actually tried to make a move on Truth Hoke through 1 and 2, but kind of got hung out down the backstretch. Ended up getting picked up by Dale Valiquette, but ultimately now stuck up on that high side and slowly losing positions, it seems.
Back there right now. The call has been made. The 10 of Kirby Wainscott, the race's elites coming in. Brandon Honeycutt coming with him, so he will have help. This is the breakup of cars coming to pit road that I was talking about. We've got 2 coming now. We'll see when the 55 of Truth Hoke decides to come. That's going to open up a gap for some of these racers to move in. We'll have to watch and see how interesting this gets as the 9 of Valiquette gets loose in the tri-oval, able to hang on to it. John Ross going to step in front of him, but Troy Thomas being a lap down and got the break in the field right now. With Kirby Wainscott too fast coming down pit road. He got caught with the speed penalty, so he needed a 40-second hold. So that's gonna put the nail in the coffin on his. As we got the 101 of Brian LaPrade. Yeah, Brian LaPrade. I think John Ross is coming with him potentially. See if they can make it to pit road unscathed as Truth Hoke continues to lead, and Brian LaPrade and John Ross both too fast entering pit road. Tough times are coming for these guys. The Truth Hope coming by himself. Truth Hope not wanting to see that. Kinsley Smith is out front of the leaders right now. Thomas right there with them, so we'll see if Kinsley Smith's able to get these laps back. The field broke up. We'll see if he can get back to this. He wasn't the 10th spot. He's going to make up the spot now. He's going to gain a few spots here with a few drivers getting penalized. Too fast inning. The Truth Hope unscathed for the time being. I don't see anything coming up there, so things looking good for not for Wayne Scott, but for Truth Hope to be able to maybe potentially pick up some spots here with those drivers around a little bit longer than one on pit road. But Richard Ode leading for the first time today in the 78 with the 94. Christopher Pendle pushing him, and John Ross will take care of his white flag there. He'll serve it there before he leaves the pit box. So unfortunately, some issues there. Wayne Scott had some damage to get fixed there on that number 10. The pit stop time was 16. The Truth Hope is out, down and away. But Richard Ode here for 78. And he'll have to come to pit road here yet as well. Kinsley Smith is kind of the head of that field. He's supposed to be yielding to the leaders, but he's already made his pit stop and knows that they have to come in. I don't know that I'd move. So that's a call for him to make. I haven't seen anything in the chat. And he may be speaking with them. We may not be aware of that. So, we wouldn't quite call it a private channel in public, but Richard Ode, your race leader, and Kinsley, I mean, he's just as fast as they are at this point in time. Being able to race with them.
Interesting developments. Brian LaPrat and John Ross both pulling behind the pit wall after receiving their pit road infractions.
Yeah, this late in the race, 21 laps to go. It's at that point the race is kind of shot, you know. They're looking at a 13th, 14th place. You know, they're giving up valuable points coming to the end of this race. We'll see. You have to see. We're 20 laps remaining, and I think Richard Ode might be trying to make it to the end. It's kind of hard to say at the time. His last pit stop for the 78 was on lap 182. So he's got to be getting close.
One thing I noticed from Richard Ode, Christopher Pendle, and Cole Larson, though, is all three of them were comfortably riding in the draft. They never let the checkups or anything like that affect their speed or their momentum. So they've been running constant since the green flag fell on this last restart. And now, especially with Richard Ode, with the 15 car sitting right in front of him, giving him even more draft, it's possible these three might have enough to make it to the end.
That's a good point, and I don't know. That's a hard call for an admin to make with that. Like I was speaking about the lap cars having to yield to the leaders. Kinsley Smith is kind of right on the edge, battling for a win to an extent, because the leaders are on lap 242. I think that 43 now as they cross the line, and you know Kinsley's on lap 241. The front three drivers are the only ones on the lead lap. Even Dale Vallecut's going like 2 laps down in that 9 car, and he pitted, and yet waiting on these guys to make the call at the pit road for Richard Ode, Christopher Pendle, Cole Larson. I mean, those three, they're all right there. It's the 78, the 94, and the 33. Your lap cars in this mix are the 15 and the 3, but they're not really causing issues with the leaders. They're using the leaders to their benefit, and the leaders are using them. You know, if you told the 15 to do it and get out of the way, I mean, that's kind of at cost to the race leader. You know, he's maybe utilizing, like you said, to save fuel. And you know, Kinsley made his stop already. He's gonna, you know, he's good to go all the way to the end. Why would you? Well, if you can stretch your fuel out to take the checkered flag, why would you want the 15 out? You know, to move.
Exactly. Like if I was Richard Ode right now, I would be loving the fact that I have Kinsley directly in front of me, giving me draft, giving me the slipstream, helping me reduce my fuel consumption to help me almost ensure and guarantee that I can make it these last 15 going on 14 laps.
Yeah, the hard part though is that the 15 really gets on the throttle like it looked like he did there off the turn 4 and tried to drive away from the 78 is that a lot of the jab kind of got, everybody kind of gave room to deal with the lap car there. As 10 of Wayne Scott gets to try to run the back of this field. He's going to catch up to the back of the 33. Larson here run with the front 3 runners here, so your front 3's pretty much guaranteed a spot as long as they can maintain there and they don't get too aggressive or greedy at the end of this. They're all right here together, and nobody here is really going to benefit from anything. If you look at the Mason, most of the points for the most part in these top 3 spots, and you know, the 78 of Richard Ode hanging on to that race lead. He's being pushed by the 94 Pendle. He's using the 15 to save fuel. I think all of them, I guarantee all of them are in fuel conservation mode right now, trying to make it to the end of this. And it's hard to say whether it's going to be 3 laps shy, 4 laps shy. It's got to be very cautious and very patient in managing that fuel mileage for the end of this race. More than 12 laps to go.
Although, I've just heard that the top 3 look to be pitting this time, and they are.
Interesting factor in the race right now, but the worst part of it is that, I mean, they are all, if they all come in, if they just feel they have this pit stop just right, which it looks like the 94 Pendle get a little aggressive there coming to 3 and 4 down on the apron. He wants to try to get there with the 78, and we're looking to see if they're clean, and I think he's okay. I think he didn't bleed, he got the commitment line fine. I saw you were watching the 94 kind of getting the grass a little bit, and we'll see if, right now, if I were these 3, I'd be looking at fuel only. I don't even think tires would be an option.
Oh yeah, 100% fuel only.
They gotta lock this in right now and get out there. I'm looking to see who's taking. So we got tire stop on the 78, right sides up.
94 and 33. 33's away. 33 took fuel only. Cole Larson.
Larson looking for the race lead. He's got it right now. Here comes the 78. Now he's down and away.
Looks like the 94 had a penalty for his pit entry.
It looks like he might have it. I didn't quite get that one, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. And that's going to break up your race leaders a little bit. Cole Larson's still your leader.
Nope. Here goes Dale Valaket, Brandon Honeycutt, and Truth Hoke to the front.
Yeah, things getting swapped up here at the end, but they got to watch that group of 3 doesn't pick things up with this group of 3. Honeycutt, like I said, you got to watch Honeycutt and Hoke. They're very, very well known, and I haven't got to watch Valaket but today for the first time, and he's been right there with the racers, the lead pack, and he's looking to put on a show here, and he's holding on to the race lead now. I thought maybe the 33 of Larson had the right strategy to get fuel only, and he's right there, but take a peek here. I don't know that he had help. Larson is out there by himself, and that's going to hurt. And he's got 10 laps, and he needs to have that help now to get back to your race leaders. So this race, as long as we don't go with the broadcaster's curse and hurt anything to go caution free, it's going to be Valaket, Honeycutt, and Hoke. It's going to come down to one of these 3.
The only way Larson gets back into this race now is with a caution. That's the only way Larson can battle for this win. Unless these 3, Truth Hoke, Brendan Honeycutt, and Dale Valaket battle each other so hard for these last 8 laps that he's able to just kind of sneak up on him.
We got lap traffic going to play a role in the. As one of them, actually, both of those drivers are going to go to pit road. It looks like maybe. They kind of slowed their speed and moved down out of the way. They moved back down. That's not a move I would have taken. They kind of moved to the outside, but they kind of didn't give them a choice to make that decision. As Valaket, Honeycutt, and Hoke are going to work their way around them with 7 laps to go. It'll be 6 to go next time as they're working their way into turn 1. But things kind of interesting here. You know, watching things unfold earlier, Richard Ode is now working his way to the start-finish line in that 78. And Kinsley Smith
Team speed,
still the first car a lap down. So
Two
unfortunately,
questions each.
not going to be able to get back in this one unless there's a caution, like you said, even for Cole Larson
Yes,
to
tough.
sneak back into this one in that 33. The front three have kind of stretched it out, and that's kind of tough. You know, kind of a tough note on that. He's probably kind of kicking himself a little bit. I don't, like I said, Fuel Only would have been my take for that stop. I think the 33 had the right idea in mind, but all three of them were not on the same page. They kind of left each other out to dry on that one, and the benefactors are Del Valiquette, Brandon Honeycutt, and Truth Hope. The Honeycutt Hope, the H&H duo now. We'll see how this plays out here as things close, because I'm pretty sure Honeycutt and Hope would want this win just about as bad as Valiquette does, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Valiquette still block no matter where the 13 goes. But that's also going to open the door for the 55, and you'll have to watch Hope as Hope pounce on that quickly. Yeah, frogs on flies. We got 4 laps remaining here, so count them on one hand, and the driver's been probably counting this down all race long, and unfortunately eliminated half of the field. Aaron the last driver left competing. Brian LaPratte, like you said earlier, went pit side after penalties. John Ross went garage area side after penalties. Chris Lawrence is kind of the benefactor. He's hanging out and picking up spots. He's on 77 though. He's not going to be able to pick up any more spots after that, so maybe I'd probably call it after that one. He's the only one out there picking up spots at 14th. Is going to be the best he can do. He may call it on that note. Seeing that the big training goes, we're working our way now down the back straightaway, and Valiquette still your race leader, carrying the torch here. And Honeycutt currently in the second spot. Starting to step out a little bit, maybe trying to figure something out here, as he knows that it's been go time for a minute there. And these three have been kind of comfortably rolling with each other. It's 2 to go now. Tip to the green, and the starter stand to notify everybody 2 to go as they roll around. Kind of in line here, not getting too antsy yet. We'll look for that last lap pass. I don't know if they dial anything up now. Honeycutt looking like he's wanting to do something, but he knows it's just a little too soon. And making the move too early could be the biggest mistake of the race. So that Palace 13 will hang on as we come to the white flag. The white silk is in the air. One more trip around, and we're going to find out which one of these three are going to bring home the race win, or is it going to be a situational error? It's going to allow even the 33 of Cole Larson to make up that huge deficit, which is quite a ways away. I think he's wrecking out of turn 3 at this point. We'll put one of these drivers in line, and here we go. Truth Hope and Brandon Honeycutt go together on the high side. Not going to have a run, I don't believe. And Valiquette, I believe, is going to take the race win. It's not going to have enough time, and the Budweiser 9 of Valiquette will pick up the race win. Coming home second will be Brandon Honeycutt, and third to Truth Hope. Fourth will be Cole Larson, rounding out your top 5. Potentially will be Richard O. We'll talk about that in a moment, as they have not crossed the line yet. They are working their way there now. The 33 is across the line. The 78 of Richard O. will pick up that spot. So, great race here at Atlanta for the Atlanta 400. And interviews will be taking place here momentarily.
All right, you guys are muted. Ronald, Mac's going to handle the interviews. If you could grab the drivers for him. And I'm unmuting now. We'll do third place, second place, first place, please. Set them up. You'll have to move them. I can't do it.
So David Valiquette comes home with the win here. We're going to be trying to get the top 3 in here for interviews. If they are ready. All right, there is our third place finisher, Truth Hope. Now, Truth, I gotta ask you, we saw the last couple laps there, you were kind of holding back a little farther than what Brandon was. Were you hoping to have a run on both of them there at the end?
Yeah, I was just messed up a couple turns and got behind them, but I was going to push Brandon. If I couldn't get it, I was going to push Brandon. But it was, that's all I had right there. I just wore my tires out there at the end.
So okay, so then were tires definitely a factor? Because that last round of stops, we saw a couple drivers take fuel only to try and beat you three out. So was tire wear definitely a factor for this one?
It was for me. I know that it was for me. I couldn't have done it on those tires. I had to stop get tires every time. It was for me.
Okay, awesome. Anyone you want to give a shout out or a hi to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife for letting me do this. My team, the Misfits, Troy, and Jesse, John, and Andrew for putting this on, and you guys for broadcasting.
All right. Well, we greatly appreciate it there, Truth. Congrats on the third place finish, and we'll see you next week.
All right, we'll see you later.
That was our third place driver in Truth Hope, and see if our second place driver is in here.
I moved him up and he stepped out, so I guess we go ahead with go ahead and bring Dell in, and then if he comes back, we'll catch up with him. But I'll keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, we could do that. We'll go ahead and bring our race winner in here. Dale Valaket, today's winner. Congratulations, sir. How does that win feel?
It's great. It was awesome. It was a really fun race. Tire wear was actually pretty big. We were surprisingly squirrely throughout the race, so it was fun.
Yeah, we saw a few instances throughout the race where it seemed like turn 4 mainly was the area that was catching a lot of you guys out in terms of the rear end trying to step out. But I gotta ask, were you worried at all when the top 3 waited another 15, almost 20 laps to pit from when you guys pitted?
No, because I knew that there's no way they could make it, because I was trying to save back in the pack. That's why I went all the way back there. I was trying to save, and I couldn't get past like 5 laps short, and I was like, well, there's no point in saving anymore. So I knew they had to pit, and we were faster than them pace wise because we had fresher tires, so we were making up a lot of time.
Yeah, we saw on that last round of pit stops there was a couple drivers who decided to take no tires, fuel only, try and beat you guys out, and the fresher tires ended up working in your guys' favor. So
yeah, the time that they gained, the time they gained by doing that, we already gained on track by having fresher tires probably.
Oh yeah, 100%. All right, anyone you want to say hi or thank on helping you get this victory here tonight?
Just want to thank Andrew for putting in the effort to put this lead together and have some fun races. And I'd like to thank Budweiser. I hope that was cool in the beginning. I thought it was like the Budweiser show, Budweiser cars 1 and 2.
Yeah. The Budweiser cars were definitely dominant all day. Between yourself, Kinsley, and Brandon, like you guys were definitely the cars to beat. But all right, man. Thanks for joining us up here in the booth. Congratulations again on the win, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. See you next week.
All right, we got a third guy yet. Yay, nay, Mac.
Negatory.
Let's
Okay,
see.
let's close it up, guys. Close it up.
So a great race here at the Atlanta 400. A great run by everybody today. A great win for Del Valaket here, picking up the race in the Budweiser number 9. He definitely said it when he said a mouthful with the Budweiser cars taking the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the race here, the Atlanta 400. I want to thank Mac Johnson for picking up for me here. Tim Burns for running the controls, and of course, can't do this without Andrew Tuft putting all this together and allowing us to come put on a show for everybody. Hope you had a great day, the Races Elite Network, and hopefully we'll catch you throughout the week and next time here on the Races Elite Network.
Till I collapse, I've been moving too fast. Got my foot up on the gas, full throttle till I crash. I'm back with a vengeance. You gon' see me end this. I will be ascending. I don't ever slack. I got my eyes on a prize. What I see for my life, I don't float, no I fly. Do or die, cause you gotta do or die. There ain't no compromise. Get ready for a fight.
Do you wanna see what you're made of? What if there was no one to save us? Would you leave it all on the pavement? Would you dye the ground with some stray blood? I just wanna find out my limits. I'ma put everything in it. I'm in this life to win it, and this is just the beginning. Do you want it bad? Do you want it bad? Do you want it bad? I'll fight till I collapse. I'll fight till I collapse. Till I collapse. My energy is unmatched. I don't get tired, no I don't get gas. I'm back, still working to surpass. Everybody getting past, on my way up fast. No slap. So watch out for me now. Everybody in this town will be looking at my crown. I got my knuckles all wrapped. Blood drips from the scabs, bloody fists from the jabs. Do you wanna see what you're made of? What if there was no one to save us? Would you leave it all on the pavement? Would you dye the ground with some stray blood? I just wanna find out my limits. I'ma put everything in it. I'm in this life to win it, and this is just the beginning. Do you want it bad?